Wow, one more look. 408 to the, what do you think, 440?
Yeah, somewhere in that distance. It reminds me of Jorge Vasquez, El Chato. Right, he went over the batter's eye early on in spring training, was impressive. Alex Rodriguez following suit.
All right, so take over. I'm going to go measure it real quick, and then I'll be right back.
Let us know.
Yeah. And Nick Swisher fouling one away. It's interesting. It's usually Robinson Cano following A-Rod. He's used to seeing that. Nick's probably thinking, I got to stay within myself here. I can't follow that up, but see what I can do. And a swing and a miss on a breaking ball, and that'll do it here in the bottom of the first, but not before the Yankees get a pair on Alex Rodriguez. Jurassic-sized home run to center field. Alex swinging away for a 2-0 lead. Shops or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. And this young man is torn. Pirates hat, Yankees jersey. Well, the jersey has a 2-0 lead right now after one. And Alex Rodriguez, 6th homer of the spring. That'll bring up to 5, 6, 7 hitters here, top of the second for the Pirates. Pedro Alvarez, Garrett Jones, and Ronnie Cedeno. That's Alvarez leading things off. Tied for the team lead this spring in doubles. He has 6. And they ring him up with a strike. Couldn't hold a swing.
Alvarez, one of the best prospects in the Pittsburgh Pirates system. You see the resume. High school Horace Mann in New York, Vanderbilt University, and the 2nd overall pick in the 08 draft.
And Banuelos misses with a breaking ball. And a lot of these young guys are on the fast track now to the majors. We've seen them sort of change their philosophy from signing mid-level veterans to giving their younger guys a chance.
They played 95 games, hit 16 home runs last year, but really got hot in the month of September. 311 batting average, 5 home runs, and 26 RBIs. And Greg Ritchie, their new hitting instructor, really excited about that month of September last year, kind of rolling it into spring training and hoping for a big year from Alvarez.
And I'm going to reiterate something you said earlier, the fact that it's not so much the young position players they're worried about. They have talent.
Yeah.
They've proven that they can do some nice things to win. It's that pitching staff that they have questions about, not only the rotation, but beyond that into the bullpen. They've had some injuries out there.
That's exactly right. And you got Mahalam, who do a nice job. Correa, we're seeing today. Ollendorf, Morton. But, you know, really a lot of question marks with the pitching staff and Clint Hurdle and his staff. See a pretty good young lineup, a lot of good athletes. Might have to outslug some clubs.
And Banuelos misses with a breaking ball, full count.
Pretty good take from Alvarez there. A nice curveball from Banuelos. Down and away, and a pretty good take from Alvarez. A good matchup here, 3-2. Another look. Romine sitting up middle. It ends up down and away. Good pitch. Didn't get the call.
And Banuelos misses, so for the 2nd straight in, a leadoff walk.
Well, the young lefty not looking as sharp as he had earlier in some of his spring training appearances. Missing with the curveball, not really locked in with the location on the fastball.
You know, the one thing that I really think jumped out at a lot of people was that start that Banuelos had against the Red Sox. Night game, pitched very well. 2 2/3 scoreless innings. Gave up a couple hits. That was it.
And as impressive as he has been, sorry about that, Bob, he's been able to throw anything for strikes, any pitch at any time. And here this afternoon, behind in the count a lot, really not locked in with his location. Like any young pitcher, you look to see if he can make some adjustments during the ball game.
Hot shot down the right field line and foul.
And the last thing you want to be is a predictable pitcher right there in a fastball count. Garrett Jones got a 94-mile-an-hour heater and was able to turn it around. Looked like that ball might have found the seats. Maybe a fan might have took a shot down the line. You see some of the players peeking to make sure they're okay.
Well, Jones has had kind of a quiet spring, batting .222. He has knocked in 7 runs. He's got Pedro Alvarez at first.
Nice block by Romine. Alvarez at first base, keeps that ball in front, keeps the double play in order.
So the catching situation is still very much a topic of discussion. We've read in our stories recently that maybe Gustavo Molina has sort of jumped into the picture as a backup catcher to Russell Martin. We knew that when camp began, it was Jesus Montero and Austin Romine. How do you see this thing shaking out? Are they even close to making a decision, do you think?
Well, you know what, the first thing is that it sounds like Cervelli is doing pretty well coming back from that broken foot, and maybe this might be a 2-week thing into the season. And it sounds like Molina now has kind of stepped forward, as you see Larry Rothschild and Boomer Wells looking on, as kind of stepped forward as a possibility for the backup. Montero has not really done the job behind the plate and with the bat. And I think Romine, we've talked about it all spring, a very solid defensive catcher who hasn't hit a whole lot. And here are the numbers. Nobody has really stepped forward to win a job. Montero, the better batting average, couple RBIs, but maybe not as well behind the plate defensively.
And Jones lifting one to second base. Nunez will fight the sun, and he's got it for the first out.
Well, the one thing, Bob, and getting back to the backup catcher situation, Montero and Romine are such highly regarded prospects. You really have to worry about their progress. You want to make sure they get their playing time, their development, they keep maturing as players. And Molina is more of a veteran guy that if he sits on the bench, you know, for the first 2 weeks of the season, doesn't play a whole lot, you know, you're not really that concerned about him. And the other part that comes into play is the 40-man roster. You could put Molina on the roster, and if you have to take him off and maybe you lose him, that's okay. You don't want to lose, obviously, the 2 prospects in Romine and Montero.
Now, let me add this to the mix as Ronnie Cedeno steps in for the first time this afternoon. Yankees are making decisions up till Monday and Tuesday.
Yep.
Who to keep, who to send down, who to send out. Other teams are doing that too. Do you think there's anybody out there that they might say, hang on, we're going to look for a veteran catcher that may have been released?
I'm sure there are. And we saw Brian Cashman this morning talking to Joe Girardi around the batting cage. And obviously you don't know what the conversations are, but they were pretty intense. And, you know, talking to Mick Kelleher, the first base coach for the Yankees this morning before the game, things change so quickly at this time of the year. There are players that you try to get through waivers, get picked up. There are trades that happen. Busy time of the year for organizations, and Romine trying to show off his arm, maybe trying to make a little last impression here. Might be one of his last starts of spring training. Not afraid to show off his throwing arm, throwing behind Alvarez at first.
He's ahead of Cedeno 1-2. And fouled away again. Now, did you go through that in your career as well?
Yeah, there were times when I was a young player, and I actually thought with the Red Sox one spring training that I hit over 400. I know that's hard for you to believe, Bob, that actually happened for a few weeks. The stars were all aligned properly, and I thought I should have made the team. And, you know, there was a situation with Damon Berryhill, Bob Melvin, Dave Valley, some names from the past, and it didn't quite work out. But there was a situation there with Damon Berryhill where he had a contract all ready to go. And I remember them saying, we'll let you make this team, but you got to take a pay cut because we have a couple other players who could make this team. So there are just so many things that change at the end of spring training. And you can't tell a kid you made the team because tomorrow there might be a catcher who becomes available in a trade or on waivers. And you have to tell him he didn't make the team. So I think they're just going to keep that to the end.
And a swing and a miss as Banuelos burns a fastball in there for the second out.
Well, after a leadoff walk, he's able to get a pop-up and a strikeout of Ronnie Cedeno, so maybe trying to get into a rhythm. And again, it's the fastball he's been proud of it this afternoon. Up in the zone, right by Cedeno.
That'll bring up Jason Jaramillo. And by the way, Your Honor, just for the record, I'd like to say that, getting back to your 400 comment, you might not be a career 400 hitter, but in my mind, Flash, you're a career 400 person.
Wow. That means more to me than the career batting average.
I probably should have said a career 1,000 person, but
4 out of 10 is not bad.
Well, Jaramillo, what a terrific spring for him. 458, a home run, 6 runs batted in, and they need catching help. They need somebody to really work with these pitchers and add a little pop in the lineup, too.
Well, it's an interesting situation because there's a talk of keeping 3 catchers. Chris Snyder, who came over from the Diamondbacks last year, is probably going to be their starter. Ryan Dumit, who is more of a hitting catcher, a switch hitter. And now Jaramillo is having a big spring. So, again, we talked about decisions for the Yankees with the catching. Same thing in Pittsburgh.
And hard hit ball left field. Dickerson's going to have to track that one right over his head. And Alvarez will be able to score easily from first as the ball is brought into short. And that's an RBI double with 2 outs here for Jason Jaramillo.
Well, earlier I talked about Banuelos and the fact that you get into a fastball count where you can become predictable. It doesn't matter how hard you throw. Got behind in the count to Jaramillo and had to come in there with a fastball, and he was ready with a good spring, good numbers. He's not going to miss that fastball right down Broadway. Nice extension. Right over the head of Chris Dickerson in left field. Pittsburgh's on the board.
So a 2-1 game, 2 outs here in the top of the second, and the number 9 hitter, the pitcher, Kevin Correa. Now again, he'll have to bat, obviously, National League, and Clint Hurdle wants him to get his final reps here, game feel, if you will, before he starts next Friday in the season opener. And looks at a strike. And you know, you always hear about these pitchers who love to hit. Did you ever work with anybody who just could not stand it, didn't even want to be in there?
Well, I think Al Leiter, one of our buddies in the booth, I don't know if he hated it, but he was, and coming from me, who was not a good hitter, Al was terrible.
So just not a comfortable at bat for Al. Okay. And Correa out to right and fading foul. And Banuelos trying to wrap things up against his counterpart and push things along to the bottom of the second, keep it a 2-1 game. And a breaking ball, chop foul.
Well, Correa doing a nice job just getting that pitch count up already at 42 with 2 outs in the second inning for Banuelos. Again, not as sharp as we have seen him early on. It's not going to take anything away from what kind of a prospect he is going to be. You want to see him make some adjustments.
And he checks his swing. That'll move it to 2-2. You know, Flash, you spent most of your career in the American League, but you did play for San Diego. How different was it for you when you went to National League ball?
Well, it's a totally different game with the pitcher coming up. And, you know, as a catcher, you're going to call it differently with the number 8 hitter. You know, you don't want to give him opportunities to drive in a run. Obviously, in the second inning, you're not going to think of that in a spring training game.
And a hard fastball and in for a strike, and that'll wrap things up here in the top of the second. Pirates get 1, but it's still a 2-1 Yankees lead.
Join Yankees Universe, the official fan club of the New York Yankees.
Members enjoy exclusive benefits, including fast-track entry to Yankee Stadium and the New York Yankees Museum, presented by Bank of America.
Access to an exclusive website. And a subscription to MLB Game Day Audio.
Benefits increase based on the tier of membership selected.
A portion of all proceeds are donated to Memorial Sloan Kettering, benefiting pediatric cancer research. Join Yankees Universe today by visiting Yankees.com or by calling 800-GO-YANKS.
36 miles per gallon on the highway. iVTEC engine, the Honda Civic.
I love it.
Hey, right now you could really save big on one. Come on, I'll show you. All right. Give me a boost. Yeah.
Okay, hurry into Honda's Really Big Thing sales event.
As we get set for the bottom of the second here in Tampa, let's check out the Avis upcoming schedule. 2 more spring games on Yes for us. It'll be Tampa Bay on Monday night and Detroit wrapping up our coverage on Tuesday afternoon. Flash and I will have both of those games for you along with Tim Jones. And then the regular season begins. All the pageantry of opening day Thursday afternoon, 1 o'clock from Yankee Stadium as the Yankees take on the Detroit Tigers. Coverage, by the way, beginning at noon with the Tri-State Ford pregame. So we get set to go bottom of the second. The 6, 7, 8 hitters for the Yankees: Jorge Posada, Chris Dickerson, and Eduardo Nunez.
You know, Bob, we just saw that upcoming schedule, and the Yankee players to a man this morning saying they're looking so forward to opening day. And not that you don't love Florida and the weather and spring training, but they're done right now. You know, they got to try to keep their mental focus here the last couple of games and get back to New York.
And Correa misses away. Yankees leading at 2-1 in the bottom of the second, thanks to Alex Rodriguez's home run in the bottom of the first. What have you seen from Posada so far this spring as far as absorbing the DH role?
You know what? I think he's embraced it at this point. I mean, I think he's played 2.5 games at first base, has not gone behind the plate yet this spring. Good curveball there for a strike. But, you know, I've seen, even watching batting practice today, he seems to be in a good place. I think mentally he's having a good time with the role, a big smile on his face in a spring training game. You won't see that during the year very often. But I look for him to get off to a good start. I really do. I think once he mentally has embraced this role, it's going to help him.
And a swing and a miss for out number 1. All right, so we've seen Chris Dickerson defensively in his first try for the Yankees earlier in the game, and now his first at bat as a member of the Yankees, having been traded from the Brewers to the Yankees for Sergio Mitre. Born in Hollywood, still lives out in Southern California in the offseason. 3 major league seasons with the Reds and the Braves. And originally selected by the Yankees in the 32nd round of the 2000 draft, but he did not sign, so there is a Yankee connection there. And Brian Cashman called the trade for Dickerson sort of surplus for surplus. They felt like they had enough pitching. They could deal Sergio Mitre, and the Brewers had an extra outfielder in Dickerson, so this provides a little outfield insurance, especially with Curtis Granderson shelved right now.
Yeah, and it sounds like Curtis Granderson maybe is going to swing a bat or a broom handle tomorrow afternoon, which is interesting. So he's on his way back, but not sure if he's going to be ready for opening day, and it could be a nice opportunity for Dickerson. And again, gets himself a chance here to show the Yankee coaches what he can do. Don't know if I've ever heard that before, Bob. A player going to swing a broom handle first, then take it into swinging a bat the next day.
Well, I'm a little surprised that with all the marketing that's out there, a sports equipment company hasn't come out with their own model of broomstick.
Well, there's an idea. Let's go.
I like it. Of course, we can't do anything about it for the next couple hours, so somebody just took that idea. And Dickerson looks at one away. 173 career major league games for him over 3 seasons. He's appeared at all 3 outfield positions during the course of his career. He's a versatile, kind of a utility guy, fill in where he's needed.
Well, it's funny. I watch from the center field camera, and you're looking at his setup. You know, the old catcher comes out, like, you know, you watch where his hands are and figure out a way maybe to get him out. And you got to believe Kevin Long doing the same thing, the hitting instructor. You watch his setup and his swing, and how much time can you make some adjustments.
Fouled away again. 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Seems to have pretty quick hands from what you can see so far.
And you see Joe Girardi and Kevin Long really bearing down, trading some thoughts on what they see. And again, it's a tough time in spring training. This kid's coming in here trying to make an impression. And as a hitting instructor, you really can't make any changes.
It's a pretty good first impression. Base hit the left field, and he'll look to stretch it to 2. He is on the run. The throw from Tabata will be too late, and nice start for Chris Dickerson with the double here in the second.
Well, Kevin Long's going to like that approach there, letting that breaking ball get deep, let it travel to home plate, and just fight it off the other way. You like the swing, you like the approach, but what I like even better, how he gets out of the box, not even thinking about it. He's going for two, and it looks like he's got some speed and gets into second base with that good aggressive head-first slide. Welcome to the New York Yankees, Chris Dickerson.
So one out, Dickerson on second, and Eduardo Nunez getting the start at second base today. And looks at strike one.
You know, Bob, I think that's one of those things that really people probably don't talk enough about. I mean, this kid was in Arizona, gets traded, gets on a plane, comes here, shows up, whole new clubhouse, new coaching staff, new league. And he's in a ball game at 1 o'clock and gets a double his first at bat. Congratulations. It is a big time adjustment when you switch organizations that quickly.
And you're not even talking about staying in the same state. You're going cross country.
Cross country, and you know what? His future, he has no idea what's in store for him. I mean, is he going to be a member of the Yankees on opening day? Is he going to go down? It's all ahead of him and has no idea.
And 3 pitches, and Nunez is dispatched for the second out. So here's the number 9 hitter, Austin Romine. Again, the numbers, as we mentioned, offensively not great this spring for him, certainly by any stretch of the imagination, but he's got an RBI opportunity here with Dickerson on second.
You know, and Joe Girardi, talking to the media this morning, was mentioning with Romine and Montero, it's so hard in spring training when you don't get those continuous at bats when you're a backup guy fighting for a job. It's tough to show what you can really do. See me always defending the catchers.
That's your job. Well, sort of. It really used to be your job, but I know it'll be a lifelong thing. So,
but it's just nice to see that Joe recognizes that. I mean, you know, these kids, they go down to the bullpen and catch 6 innings down there and then get 1 at bat late in the ball game, and all of a sudden you're hitting 150 and people say, well, he can't hit. Well, he didn't really have a great opportunity to show what he can do in spring training. See what happens if he goes down to the minor leagues. I think his offensive game, Austin Romine, is going to be better than people think. He's been impressed with his approach in batting practice. Has a little pop. 10 home runs last year in Double-A.
And quickly in an 0-2 hole.
Let's see what kind of approach Romine takes here. Behind in the count, 0-2 with 2 outs. You mentioned Dickerson on second base, an RBI opportunity. See if he gets in that kind of defensive mode, get that foot down early, try to block off a fastball.
And the ball getting away from Jaramillo, so Dickerson will move to third.
We saw some speed from Dickerson getting out of the box and getting to second base with a double. A good baseball instincts on this wild pitch. Curveball in the dirt. Right when Dickerson sees it down in the dirt, he took off. Jaramillo, who doesn't do a great job of keeping it in front. You can see from that angle, Dickerson really was looking forward to advancing a base. Got a good jump on the ball in the dirt. Little things that can impress a manager and a coaching staff.
Well, Correa's taking his time, so Romine will do the same. 1-2, 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. And ball 2. You mentioned Correa trying to take some positive thoughts into the season. Just 1-2 this spring, an ERA over 6, and missing there on Romine to move the count to 3-2.
Well, he's got to go after Austin Romine right here. Obviously a spring training game, a different situation than a regular season game, but you have a backup catcher struggling at the plate. Brett Gardner on deck, pretty much a regular player. I'd expect Romine to see a fastball here.
And a swing and a miss. That's exactly what he saw, and ends up losing that battle. So we take it to the top of the third. Yankees still leading it 2-1.
Get out of the cookie cutter carpool and ditch the box on wheels for this. the road-ripping Mazda 3. It outperforms Civic and Corolla with more standard horsepower plus 16-inch wheels, and comes with available high-tech features like push-button start and Bluetooth phone and audio technology. Now get a low $149 a month, 36-month lease on the Mazda 3, but only through March.
I thought if you had an older home, there was no way you could reduce your energy costs.
Boy, was I wrong.
We had our house performance tested by a contractor, certified by the Building Performance Institute.
We found a host of problems that could be corrected.
They showed us what it would cost
And how much we'd save this year.
and for years to come. We've reduced our energy use 45 to 50%.
And it's good for the environment.
How can you beat that?
For more true stories of how New Yorkers are saving energy, log on to getenergysmart.org.
To equip the Lexus ES with standard features more like the Mercedes C300, you'd have to take out the 6-disc CD changer and leather-trimmed seats. With the BMW 328i, you'd also lose the 17-inch alloy wheels. And some others in its class? Forget wood detailing or sound-dampening windshields, to name a couple. But why would you want to do that? The Lexus ES Standard is nothing short of extraordinary. Lease the 2011 ES 350 for $399 a month for 36 months, with $38.74 due at signing. See your Lexus dealer.
Spring training baseball continues on Yes, Monday at 7. With opening day fast approaching, the Yankees look to make some final tune-ups when they battle the Tampa Bay Rays at Steinbrenner Field. Spring training baseball continues, Monday starting at 7, only on Yes.
Top of the third in Tampa, and top of the order for Manny Banuelos facing the Pirates in a 2-1 Yankees game right now. We welcome in, as always, our Kimberly Jones at this time. Hello, Kim.
Hello, Bob and John.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the rotation now. Cemented, set. What did Joe Girardi say about it? Must have been a relief for him, right? Finally getting this done.
You read my mind, Bob. First thing he said was, now I don't have to answer these questions anymore, right, guys? And we all said, right, Joe. Number 4 in the rotation is indeed Ivan Nova. Number 5 is Freddie Garcia. Bartolo Colon will work out of the bullpen. Joe Girardi saying in terms of Garcia versus Colon, he admitted that, yes, Colon had better numbers this spring. However, Colon did not pitch in the majors last season. Freddie Garcia did, having 12 wins for the White Sox. That played a role in this decision. The Yankees believing that Garcia has shown them a decent spring and can get better. Joe Girardi calling Colon the wild card of this spring. He said he was amazed that his velocity was up to 93. He was amazed he learned a cutter in a day. And he was amazed that Colon's fastball had movement. Joe Girardi said all 3 of those things were revelations to him, and that is what earned Colon a spot on this team, though not in the rotation. Asked Colon's reaction to this, Girardi said he's excited to be here. He also noted, fellows, a side note, Bartolo Colon not here today. He is ill. Robbie Cano also feeling a bit under the weather today, so that is making the rounds. But we do know the rotation as of today, 1 through 5.
Well, Kim, Colon is going to be in the bullpen. Was Joe specific about his role? I mean, I guess everybody would assume he would be a long guy out of the pen.
Well, he'll almost have to be, John. Joe said he doesn't have many guys in that pen right now who are going to go more than an inning. Colon they will use however they see fit. They have a lot of confidence in him. They love what they saw this spring, and they will go from here believing that they have veterans who can do the job both in Garcia and Colon.
Top it at a short, 1 away as Neil Walker will come to the plate. Kim, today felt more like it was all about the 5 position, not so much about 4, because it seemed like the way Ivan Nova pitched this spring, that was, even though they may not have said he was the 4, that was his job.
Yeah, Joe Girardi's been trying to keep that a secret for a couple of weeks now, Bob. Joe said today when I asked him when he knew Nova would be number 4, that it was after his March 11th start, against the Blue Jays, when Nova did not pitch well. The Yankees had a split squad that day. Joe was in Dunedin to see Nova, and after that game, Joe said he needs to have a better outing next time. Well, Ivan Nova was simply brilliant the next time out against the Orioles. That's when Joe Girardi said, we got our number 4, fellas.
By the way, Neil Walker at the plate struck out his first time swinging. In the meantime today, Kim, we've already seen some impressive stuff early from Chris Dickerson getting the start in left field. They just throw him into the fire, and it's a good thing because given the situation with Curtis Granderson, they might need him sooner rather than later.
They might, Bob, but let's talk about Curtis Granderson. He ran bases today. He also swung off a tee. That is a day earlier than Joe Girardi expected him to. And just a few moments ago, I saw Granderson leaving for the day, and he gave me a thumbs up and said, "We're on our way." So he is feeling more encouraged. However, Dickerson certainly is an insurance policy for the Yankees if Granderson is not available to start this season. He is a lefty bat. He can play left field. He can also play center field. He does have some major league experience. He, of course, acquired from the Brewers in the trade that sent Sergio Mitre to Milwaukee. I did talk to Chris Dickerson this morning. You will see that, by the way, that interview on the Yankees spring training report. And that double he got, guys, may be more impressive when you think of this. That was about 14 hours after he got off the plane here in Tampa, having made it over from Phoenix. So it has been a whirlwind for Chris Dickerson, who has New York roots and a big family contingent in Brooklyn who's rooting for him as a Yankee.
I'd be a little more worried about where I'm putting my head on a pillow once I get in, like where am I driving around here, and he's ready to go, right?
Yeah, when I talked to him about the way he could sort of open some eyes in this short audition he seems to have, one of the first things he mentioned was on the bases with his speed, and I think we saw that with that double. And it is important to note, John, I think you mentioned it, he does have options left. So this is not a does he make the team or not kind of thing with the Yankees and Chris Dickerson. He could be optioned to AAA.
Okay, so we'll look forward to that interview on the spring training report presented by Lincoln coming up later. In the meantime, another guy who's impressed and is looking for a backup role on this team, but it almost seems like he's got a spot. I don't want to say that, though, put words in anybody's mouth, is Eric Chavez.
Well, and Chavez has had a tremendous spring. Joe Girardi saying he's been really, really good today. The Yankees have to make a decision today on whether or not to keep Chavez. Girardi simply smiled and said he's been awfully good. He's going to make this team. And when I talked to Eric Chavez today, first of all, learning first base was his first trick this spring. He seems to have mastered it, especially to the fact where the Yankees believe if they needed him at first, he could play it. We all know Mark Teixeira plays just about every day. But we make a lot of Eric Chavez's health, and I've asked him about it a lot. And today he said to me, listen, this wasn't so much about my health. My back's been fine for 2 years. My shoulder is something I can manage.
Well, Kim, what we saw was Andrew McCutchen breaking on the first pitch, and Austin Romine sort of on the second chance tag. They got him out. So that ends the inning. We'll head to the bottom of the third. We'll get back with Kim in just a moment here for more information.
The New York Yankees are legendary.
Jeter on the run, makes the play. He is Mr. November.
He's done it. Derek Jeter has done it.
Fans, come on to Yankee Stadium the first weekend of the season, Saturday, April 2nd and Sunday, April 3rd, for Calendar Weekend when the Yankees play the Tigers. All guests in attendance at either game will receive a 2011 Yankees calendar, courtesy of Subway.
The New York Yankees, a proud tradition, a legendary history.
There's no force like the one that comes from joining forces. No strength like strength in numbers. The kind of numbers delivered by Ram 1500, a 390 horsepower Hemi V8, 20 MPG, a 5-year, 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. Strength in numbers. Now, during Ram Truck Month.
Lease Ram 1500 with a no extra charge Hemi V8 for $299 a month for well-qualified lessees. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Your therapeutic shampoo is finally paying off.
We are going out tonight.
Just another reason to celebrate with Fridays, where right now it's 3 full courses for just $12.99. In here, it's always Friday.
A certified pre-owned BMW is a smart choice. But before the up to 6-year, 100,000-mile protection plan, before the comparisons to lesser brands' new cars, before all of this, first, it's a BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Take advantage of 0.9% financing on select certified pre-owned models.
Heading to the bottom of the third. And top of the order, Gardner, Jeter, and Teixeira starting things off here. A 2-1 Yankees lead, and we are rejoined once again by Kim Jones. When we last left Kim, she was talking about Eric Chavez. Now, hey, you know, he had a great night last night, too, by the way. You talk about cementing things. How about going 3 for 3 and hitting a long home run?
Yeah, his first home run of the spring. Should I just pick up in mid-sentence, Bob? Would that suit you guys?
Yes, for editing purposes, please do. Yes. Mid-sentence.
Anyway, I was asking Eric Chavez about his health. He's played not so many games these past 3 years with back and shoulder injuries, and he told me, listen, my health wasn't my issue this spring. He said, my shoulder, is what has hampered my career. My back has been fine for 2 seasons, and the shoulder, by the way, he calls that manageable. He says it was all going to come down to his performance, and it is his performance that has earned Eric Chavez a spot on this roster. And guys, in terms of managing that shoulder, he told me an interesting story. He got hooked up with Don Mattingly. They had a phone call about hitting and managing injuries. As we all know, Donnie Mattingly had to manage his back injury through much of his Yankees career. And they talked about how Chavez was getting under the ball. He was popping up a lot of balls. Don Mattingly said, I guarantee you that's all about your lower half. They talked about Chavez shortening his swing. He did. Sure enough, the results have been better, and his shoulder feels better. That's what he means when he talks about being able to manage that shoulder injury. And since he got here, Chavez's work with Kevin Long has accentuated shortening the swing. Kevin Long's big on that anyway with most of his players, and Chavez says that has helped as well. So for a veteran like Chavez, who has 6 gold gloves at third base, guys, this has been a very interesting spring of kind of proving himself again, and he's done it.
Well, Derek Jeter up with 1 out, and just sidebar here, Kim, as Jeter looks at a 0-1 pitch and looks up 1-1. Flash, let me get back to that bunt by attempt by Brett Gardner, because he got down the bunt that he wants to get down for the season, but probably not the bunt that he wanted to lay down to get on base.
No, a little bit too hard to Alvarez, but, you know, he's going to get an opportunity, it looks like, to lead off some of these games and try to work that bunt into his offensive game. Need a little better execution.
And a swing and a miss for Derek, 1-2. Hey, Kim, we've talked a little bit about the backup catcher role, and you see Joe Girardi talking to Austin Romine there. And, you know, Flash and I think it's still very fluid at this point, even though they might have some ideas in their head about who they want to keep.
It's up in the air, Bob, and Joe Girardi telling me this morning they continue to talk about it as a staff, as an organization. Here is one scenario as Jeter goes down on strikes that Joe Girardi was willing hypothetically to discuss with me, and it was this. If Gustavo Molina, who is not one of the Molina brothers but does have some major league experience, does in fact win the job as backup catcher, Romine and Montero would go to AA and AAA as the starting catchers. I said to Joe, does that mean the kids have essentially failed in their opportunity to make this team? He said, that's not how we would look at it. We would look at it as we see them as everyday catchers. We see them as future starting catchers. We want them to play every day. The sidebar to that is when Francisco Cervelli comes back, he will almost certainly regain his job as a backup unless something unforeseen happens in the first month of the season. And guys, Joe Girardi told us at the end of February when we started doing games here on Yes, that was Cervelli's job to lose, and he was the front runner. That has indeed turned out to be true. As Cervelli battles back from that broken bone in his foot, perhaps the beginning of May, we could see a bit forgotten Francisco Cervelli back on this team.
Kim, I'll bet the final footnote on Gustavo Molina is every time you ever talk about him, the first question out of people's mouths is he one of the Molina brothers?
That's why I mentioned, you know, he's actually not. They don't have a 4th brother.
Yeah, got to qualify it. Maybe he's somewhere in the family tree, 3rd cousin, something like
That's
that.
Right. It wouldn't be a bad thing if you're a catcher.
No kidding. All right, Kim, look forward to seeing you. Flash and I will join you on the spring training report after the game.
Yes, we will see you then along with Chris Dickerson.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Kim. All right, so Mark Teixeira here battling 1-2 count on Kevin Correa. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd. And a ground ball to second. We saw Walker fielding deeply and on to first. A 1-2-3 inning for Kevin Correa. And as we go to the top of the 4th, Yanks still leading it 2-1.
Henson, we're going to go over sales figures, complete this merger, and present to the board. Sink your teeth into some Big and Toasty if you understand.
Good. You've got spunk.
A big day calls for the new Big and Toasty. Wrap your hands around fried eggs, cherrywood smoked bacon, and cheese on Texas toast. America runs on Dunkin'.
Breaking ball. Hit in the air to deep left. It is high. It is far. It is gone.
With DirecTV, your favorite team is never far away, even if you are. Because no distance is too great between you and your team. With MLB Extra Innings on DirecTV. Every team, every player, no matter where you live. It's the most baseball in HD.
From A-Rod.
Make every game a home game with MLB Extra Innings on DirecTV. Order today.
The really big sales event from Hillside Honda starts now, and it's incredible.
Right now at Hillside Honda's really big sales event. Lease a 2011 Honda Civic 4-door LX for $127 a month for 24 months. Or a 2011 Accord 4-door LX for $167 a month for 36 months. The really big sales event at Hillside Honda. 0 down payment, 0 security deposit, 0 do-it-lease signing, and 0 first month payment.
And if you're a bit tied up, you can always check us out at my favorite site, hillsidehonda.com.
Jacob Oreski, the lawyer that accident victims have trusted for numerous multi-million-dollar awards on personal injury cases for over 20 years.
They were more than lawyers. They treated me like family.
And they won my case.
And now I have a friend for life.
If you're an accident victim, you only have one chance to be compensated. Choose a lawyer that you can count on. Take the burden off your shoulders. Call Jacob Oreski and Associates at 718-993-9999. That's 718-993-9999. We'll even come to you.
As we get to the top of the fourth here against the Pirates, I guess you could call this Mo to Mo. It's Mariano Rivera coming in relief of Manny Bañuelos, and Gustavo Molina taking over behind the plate. And from one catcher to another, we are joined now, I guess, well, former catcher, but you're always a catcher at heart. Joe Girardi, aren't you?
Yeah, I am, but I'm glad it's former because I don't get beat up anymore.
You don't miss these hot days. Maybe a cool day with the catcher's gear on. But
yeah, that's right. You know, Mo I could probably still catch because he's going to throw it where I want it, but it might be challenging some of the other.
And we're not going to see him on a backfield with some of the young kids who have no control. All right. Hey, let's talk first about your decision in terms of the number 5 spot today.
Yeah.
Kind of locking that thing down, going with Freddie Garcia and Bartolo Colon as the reliever. What did you see there?
Well, we saw everyone really throw the ball pretty well. And Freddie, you know, you can't forget that Freddie threw 160 innings last year. He won 12 games in the American League Central, which was a tough division. And Bartolo is a guy that hasn't thrown a lot of innings over the course of the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. And we thought that Bartolo, even though he pitched extremely well as a starter, could be really beneficial to in our pen, being a guy that could do a number of things. You know, he could come in the 4th or 5th and get you to the 8th inning and keep it right there, or, you know, if you needed him for 1 inning. He's the kind of guy that you could trust almost in any situation, and that's why we decided to put him there. And he warms up pretty quickly. And neither one of them have done it a lot, him or Freddie, but I think Bartolo's more equipped in that role in a sense than Freddie.
You know what, Joe, I'm surprised that you say that he actually warms up quickly. I would expect, you know, with the injuries that he has had the last couple of years, that the bullpen might not be a great fit, but you're saying he can get ready quick.
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, it probably won't be as quick as some of the guys that have relieved and done it for years, but I mean, he's a guy that throws his fastball a lot. And he knows how to get it ready pretty quickly, and you know he throws more fastballs than anything, so it's not like he has to get a ton of feel for his other pitches, and he's got that great moving fastball that he can get left-handers or right-handers out.
And as we look at Mariano missing inside 3-1, just a quick thought on Nova too. You made it official, him in the 4 spot today, and how much did his stock rise in your eyes, just seeing the way he pitched and the way he handled himself this spring?
Well, you know, we liked what we saw last year, and he had those few blips that he had last year in the 5th inning at times, but we believe that he'll definitely outgrow that. And you know, that's such a small sample, I don't get too caught up in it, but for you know, him, he had the 6 innings the other 2 starts ago where he didn't give up a hit. And then he had 6 innings last night where he hadn't thrown a lot in the last 9 or 10 days because we had to get him on track on his schedule. And he wasn't sharp, but he found a way to get through 6 innings. And to me, that might have been the most positive start.
You know what, Joe, you talk about the 4 and 5, and we know CeCe obviously going to be your opening day starter. But tell me about AJ and Phil Hughes. I mean, they kind of have flown under the radar a little bit here at the end with all the talk about the 4 and 5, but they're huge keys to your season.
Oh, they're huge for us, and we think AJ's had a really good spring, and Hughesy's thrown the ball pretty well this spring, and we know what they're both capable of doing, so it's extremely important to us, those 2 guys, and sometimes it's nice to be able to fly under the radar.
Joe, is it fair? I mean, and you know, Phil Hughes is a guy who won 18 games last year. It's not fair to look at him as an 18-game winner, is it? I mean, would you be happy with the innings and, you know, just go out there and do your thing, don't worry about the wins, 15, 16?
Yeah, I mean, I just want him to compete and do the best he can, and everything, you know, should take care of itself. Sometimes you just get unlucky, and you could have a lot more wins in a sense. I mean, you can look at, you know, Cy Young, Felix Hernandez from last year, and the great numbers that he put up. It didn't have a lot of wins because he didn't get a lot of run support, and sometimes that happens. Keep us in the game and give us a chance.
As we look at Mo cruising through the 4th, nice diving try by Alex Rodriguez, but Pedro Alvarez will be aboard. Joe, let's talk a little bit about the catching situation, because we see that you've already made a change. Just before you joined us, we saw you talking to Austin Romine, who started today's game behind the plate. Now you're getting a look at Gustavo Molina.
Yeah, there's a decision that we have to make over the next few days, and the value of having 2 young kids that have played every day only once in their career, basically. I mean, they had split time a lot the year before, not last year, but the year before. and we consider them both frontline catchers. And the question is, you know, they might catch 4 or 5 games if, you know, Russell Martin's healthy and everything's going great. Do you want to mess up their maturation process in the minor leagues, you know, for 4 or 5 games, or do you feel that they're ready to go? So that's a decision that we have to make over the next couple days. And Molina hasn't caught a lot of these guys, and we want him in the mix, so we're putting him in here and see all the relievers.
Yeah, should I read a little bit too much into this, Joe? I mean, he comes in the game when Mariano's pitching, probably a guy he hasn't caught a whole lot.
He hasn't caught really most of these relievers, and we think it's important for, you know, if he's going to have an opportunity to make this club, and if he does go with us, that he's seen most of the pitchers.
You know, John brought up a good point earlier, is that you want your young guys to get their reps. Jesus Montero and Austin Romine didn't exactly tear the cover off the ball in spring. So if Montero starts at AAA, Romine starts at AA, and you go with a Molina or maybe even somebody else, it gives them an ability to kind of really sharpen their games. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and it gives them an ability to get going the way they're used to get going. I mean, when you're used to playing every day and you're a young player and all of a sudden you don't, it can be difficult. I found it kind of unusual when I first came up. You know, I'd catch 2 out of every 5 games, 3 out of every 5 games, and I didn't really know what to do with myself. And at times I would think too much on the off days, and sometimes you worry about that a little bit.
Well, Mo with the strikeout of Garrett Jones for the second out here in the top of the 4th, and Ronnie Cedeno comes to the plate.
You know, I know it's a nice time of year. You know, we had a lot of the sponsors. We were signing autographs today, and I met your daughter, Bob, and I asked her, I said, well, you know, is Daddy taking you to the mall yet? And he said, no. And I said, well, I'm going to tell him on TV, and I'm going to get him on TV that he needs to get that done today.
Well, you know what they're doing right now? Sitting by the pool. But I'm sure there will be, thanks to you, Joe,
yes.
a trip later.
Well, I had to make a few trips myself this spring, so I understand what that's all about.
By the way, I don't want to name names, but somebody from Yes has been dispatched to your office to maybe go see if your wallet's laying around and maybe some money might be missing. It wouldn't necessarily be me, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, you might find a little change in there. You're not going to find much, I can tell you that.
Oh, you've already been to the mall then, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yep, that happens. First and second here in the 4th inning. And Jason Jaramillo is up. I want to ask you about Manny Banuelos, too, because I asked about stock rising for Nova. I have to think if somebody really jumped out at you this spring and just, you know, really kind of made a name for himself in 2011, it might be Banuelos.
Yeah, we heard a lot about him over the last couple of years. I remember Georgie when he went down for rehab a couple of years ago, him talking about him, and he saw him down in extended spring, talk about, man, this kid is special. And, you know, it comes to fruition. We get to see him, and he's got a lot of talent. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And he's just a kid that needs reps as well. I mean, he needs to pitch. He had appendicitis last year and only threw about 100 innings during the course of the year. We need to build him up and just keep him going in the right direction because he's an exciting young pitcher.
Well, Joe, you talk about the innings, and, you know, obviously I don't have the formula for how many you're going to ask him to pitch this year. Would there be a thought of keeping his innings down early and the possibility that if he really opens some eyes, he could help you later on in the year?
Yeah, I mean, we think that it's possible a young kid like that could help us during the course of the year. But the thing is, John, you got to get him going. And you can't predict what's going to happen in the future. So you got to get him going and get him pitching, and then you see what happens.
And Jaramillo looking at one inside. Hey, just a quick thought on what you've seen from Chris Dickerson so far.
Yeah,
Don't know what his fate's going to be, but he's had a good start so far.
Well, he sure has. I mean, if he hits a double every time, we're in good shape. But I saw him a couple years ago when the Reds were in Sarasota, and I liked him. I mean, you could see his speed. You could see his ability to hit the ball the other way, which he did there. He's got home run power. I mean, it's a kid that's never played every day in the big leagues, but there's a lot of tools there. And you know, he's going to get a good look, especially with the way Grandy's nicked up. You know, if Grandy's not ready, you know, he's a good possibility for us.
But Mo induces the slow grounder to second, and that'll wrap things up in the top of the 4th. Joe, as always, great talking to you. Thanks for setting me up and costing me money.
Enjoy them all.
See you. Bye-bye.
Get to Nissan now for the offer you need on the Nissan you want. This is Nissan Now. Get special pricing on our full line. Sedans, trucks and SUVs, crossovers. Now, lease Altima, just $189. Or Rogue, just $199. Visit ChooseNissan.com or see your local Nissan dealer today. Event ends March 31st. Get in now.
40 years ago, he wasn't worried about retirement. He'd yet to hear of mutual funds, IRAs, or annuities. Back then, he had something more important to do. He wasn't focused on his future. But fortunately, Somebody else was. At USAA, we provide retirement solutions for our military, veterans, and their families. From investments to life insurance to healthcare options. Learn more with our free USAA retirement guide. Call 877-242-USAA.
So right now, Volkswagen has deals on all of these.
Yeah, but they're going fast.
Impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I really like the Tiguan.
It is a top safety pick. Let's take it for a test drive.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe that one. Oh, jeez. Follow me. I got one in the back.
Great deals on any 2011 Volkswagen are here, but not for long. Hurry into the Going, Going, Gone event and get the 2011 CC for $269 a month. Visit VWDealer.com today.
Today's Game on Yes is brought to you in part by the all-new Chevy Cruze. Visit ChevyOffers.com. By Inserta, energy, innovations, solutions. And by Acura, Advance. Now we head to the bottom half of the fourth inning. It's A-Rod, Nick Swisher, Jorge Posada, and if we go back to his first at-bat, Alex Rodriguez gave us something to remember. It kind of flashes, you said, in more than one way.
Well, Alex Rodriguez gets great extension, drives it over the batter's eye in center field, probably about 440 feet, a 6th home run of the spring. But El Chato, Jorge Vasquez, the first game of spring training, February 26th, over the right side of the batter's eye, a very impressive home run for a guy who had a very impressive spring training.
I like the way you sold the nickname, by the way.
Well, that was our, one of our producers, Bill Bolin, sold me on El Chato. I got to go with it every time I see him swing a bat.
And Kevin Correa in his fourth inning of work facing Alex Rodriguez in a 2-1 Yankees game. Those 2 runs provided courtesy of Alex with that 2-run home run. As we look at the Cadillac scoreboard, 4 hits for the Pirates, just 2 for the Yankees.
Well, Alex Rodriguez in a very good mood around the batting cage today, Bob. Had a nice conversation with us, and I guess when you hit your 6th home run of the year, hitting over 440, you would be in a good mood.
And hammers one out to right. Jones tracking it. He's got to be there in a hurry. 2 hard hit balls by Alex. That one, though, is in the glove for the first out.
Well, Alex was saying he didn't have to worry about his hip this winter. He can physically just get in great shape and got some work done with Kevin Long. And it has just been a spring training of rocket after rocket. Great sign for Yankee fans. Alex Rodriguez driving this ball the other way. And an inside-out stroke up on the warning track. Jones makes a nice play.
And as you said, the work with Kevin Long for Alex was all work. It wasn't a little bit off the tee or, against a live hit pitcher, and then all of a sudden it's, hey, see ya, I got to go rehab the hip. And Nick Swisher driving one out to the gap in left field. As Tabata tracks it down, and Swisher's aboard with a 1-out single.
A nice stroke for Nick Swisher going the other way. Hasn't really had a great spring training, but trying to find it here at the end. Ride it right on into opening day. A good fastball down and away, and Nick just stays on it. Drills it the other way. This could be interesting to see. Bob, we talk about this lineup, and is Brett Gardner going to lead off? You would assume Derek Jeter would be second. That man right there, Nick Swisher, has had a nice year last year hitting second, although he bounced around a little bit when Berkman came over. I'm sure he's going to miss that spot if it plays out that way.
Well, what a great option, though, for your 6 or 7 hitter, if that's the way it shakes out, where it's Gardner 1, Jeter 2. Imagine we'll see him in the second spot, though, too, as well. Girardi's got a lot of moving parts and some options there in the lineup. Jorge Posada DHing, struck out swinging his first at bat. And Correa misses away. 2-0.
Correa is going to get the opening day start for the Pittsburgh Pirates against the Cubs. And watching him today, pretty good breaking ball, good movement on the fastball. Not going to be a pitcher that overpowers you. See there in a 2-0 pitch, a little cutter. Jorge not happy with his take right there. A lot of weight on the front foot. Not a good sign for a hitter, especially in a good hitter's count.
And a miss, 3-1. You know, we were having the discussion earlier about the catching situation with both Kim and with Joe Girardi, and I really thought when they made this move to make Jorge the DH that there would be more reps behind the plate. Not necessarily in spring, but we'd hear more about, hey, we're not worried about that second catcher because we have him to catch 15, 20 games. It just doesn't sound like that anymore, does it?
You know, and I'm shocked that Jorge has not gotten at least one game behind the plate this spring. I mean, I mentioned he played 2.5 games at first base, so he's a nice option there to be maybe a third first baseman in an emergency situation. But it'd be nice for Joe Girardi to have that luxury with Jorge that if you need a third catcher, you can put him back there. And, you know, you'd like to see him get some reps in spring training, only a few games left.
Well, he draws a walk here in the bottom of the fourth, so with 1 out and 2 aboard, Chris Dickerson is up, doubled in his first at bat as a Yankee back in the second. And now a chance to drive in a run or 2. And he looks at a strike.
You have so many thoughts going through your mind when you get traded to a new club. You want to impress your teammates. You want to impress the manager, the coaching staff, the GM. You want to justify the trade being made. You know, traded for Sergio Mitre. This was in the second inning. Stays back on a nice off-speed pitch and just drives it the other way. I think I was more impressed, Bob, with the speed. You know, getting into second base, a good head-first slide. Joe Girardi, when we talked to him, mentioned the speed.
And as you said, he went after it. I mean, he was going double all the way.
It's one of those areas of the game that it seems to fire up a ball club when you see somebody so aggressive on the bases, but it also opens eyes of a GM or scouts or a manager when there's no fear. You're going to be aggressive on the bases. You're going to force some mistakes. And when, you know, it might not even be an everyday player, but it would be a nice role player to have on your bench.
Driving one, nearly taking the umpire down right there with a single to center. Nick Swisher will round and score. And Chris Dickerson has his first run batted in here for the Yankees in the spring in his first game, and it's a 3-1 Yankees lead.
2 for 2, a double, an RBI now on a base hit, and a nice approach. Fastball middle in, just stays inside and drives it right back up the middle. Not much more you can do after you get traded for Sergio Mitre. You come over here, 2 at bats, a double, a base hit, and an RBI. It almost takes second base umpire Dave Rackley's head off.
So Dickerson 2 for 2, and now Eduardo Nunez comes up. He struck out his first time in the second inning. We talked earlier with Kim about Eric Chavez being part of that bench equation. Nunez is certainly in that mix as well. Can play third, give you a little third if you need it, short, second.
Playing the outfield this spring. Ramiro Pena still in the mix. Yankees know what they have from him the last couple of years. Nunez has had a nice spring. I mean, the batting average starting to creep down a little bit, but stealing bases.
And shot foul down the line at third.
It's a tough decision when you have a kid like this who's been a shortstop in the minor leagues, regarded as one of your best prospects, and start thinking about him in a utility role, moving around playing the outfield. Again, it's you take him away from his comfort level of being an everyday shortstop to now he's a utility guy who might not play every day, and we'll see if he makes this club and what his role is going to be.
And you mentioned the hot start he had kind of tapering off. It's kind of funny in spring. Do you want the hot start and taper off, or do you want to have a slow start and really build towards the season? It's
depends if you're a veteran who has a job on the team already, or a young kid like Nunez, who I think really opened up a lot of eyes. His swing got a little better from last year, driving the ball a little bit better. The speed has always been there. He's done enough to make this team in spring training.
Another hot shot down the line and foul. He's stirring up some chalk over there, no doubt.
Talking to Kevin Long, the hitting instructor, early on in spring training, hey, who's opened your eyes a little bit? And, we saw enough of Nunez last year when he was up in the big leagues, Kevin did, and he said he was the one guy that he's been impressed with. The ball jumping off his bat just a little bit more than it did last year. Looks like he's going to continue to improve. Might be able to help the Yankees win a few games off the bench.
Posada's on second, Swisher on first. And Nunez lifts one up behind the plate. Jaramillo fighting the sun, and it'll drop. They called infield fly, though. The umpire calling him out, so it'll end up being a double play because Jorge Posada broke for third. So let's see how things shake out here as Dickerson is standing on second. That's what they call it. They call it a double play infield fly rule call. Posada broke for third. So the unconventional way to wrap up an inning, certainly with the Yankees threatening. But we'll go to the top of the fifth. The Yankees add a run. They're up 3-1.
Whoa. Don't want you spilling that hot latte on my driver's seat.
This is my car. Who are you?
I'm the second owner.
The what?
I will own this car after you. Look, I'm not telling you how to drive our car.
Our car?
If you're gonna have a latte in the car, keep a lid on it.
It's a cappuccino.
Still needs a lid.
The highest quality cars plus an exceptional certified pre-owned program. Good news for the second owner.
Take care of my car.
Visit your local Audi dealer to learn about the many benefits of our comprehensive certified pre-owned program.
Your therapeutic shampoo is finally paying off.
We are going out tonight!
Just another reason to celebrate with Fridays, where right now it's 3 full courses for just $12.99. In here, it's always Friday.
There are over 358 million trillion gallons of water on Earth. But not all water is created equal. Only 1/1000th of 1% is filtered naturally beneath the Earth, with a distinct balance of minerals, and emerges crisp and refreshing enough to be called Poland Spring. Poland Spring 100% natural spring water, born better.
It's amazing what the right key can do for you. Whether it's getting to work or as far from it as possible. And now that Chevy Truck Month is here, it's time to get the keys that you can depend on. During Chevy Truck Month, qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a 2011 Tahoe.
Find your nearest dealer on ChevyOffers.com.
Today's Game on Yes is brought to you in part by your tri-state area Volkswagen dealers. Visit VWDealer.com. By Wells Fargo. Wachovia is now Wells Fargo in the tri-state area. And by Mazda. Zoom, zoom. As we go to the top of the fifth. And that unconventional infield fly and then the putout that ended things for the Yankees. The catcher getting credit for the infield fly rule putout, then 2-6 on the double play. Here's another look at it.
Well, you can see Nunez pops this ball up. Now the question is whether it's going to be in fair territory. If it's foul territory, it's not an infield fly. If it's in fair territory, which it lands, the umpires call it an infield fly. Jorge Posada not paying attention to the umpires making that call, gets doubled up. Joe Girardi went out to have a little conversation about it.
And by the way, if you're doing any drills in spring, that's not one you would work on in terms of base running. The what to do when the infield fly rule happens. 3-1 Yankees lead it on the Audi scoreboard. Rafael Soriano is in the game now, Flash, following Mariano Rivera.
See his first spring training with the New York Yankees. It has been impressive. Only 4 2/3 in the spring games. 5 strikeouts, 1.93 ERA.
And he wastes no time getting rid of the pitcher, Kevin Correa, for the first out.
Probably going to be asked to pitch a lot of 8th innings for the New York Yankees, setting up Mariano Rivera. Kind of like the way he dictates the action out on the mound, kind of works at his own pace, bringing that closer mentality into the 8th inning.
Jose Tabata getting his 3rd trip to the plate. He walked in the 1st inning, lead things off, and then grounded to short in the 3rd. And Soriano fires in a strike. For Mariano, who worked 1 inning, 2 hits allowed, he did strike out a batter.
I was kind of thinking Mariano Rivera pitches an inning. We did not talk at all about him because we were lucky enough to talk to the manager of the Yankees, Joe Girardi. But looking back on Mariano's inning, it looks like he's rounding himself into shape.
And driven to center field. Brett Gardner will watch it fly over his head and hit the wall. And Tabata is on his way to 2nd and to 3rd. And he'll be in there sliding with a triple. 1-out triple here in the 5th.
Well, Tabata, an old prospect with the Yankees, came up through their system, was traded to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it's kind of taken a little while for him to find his game. He gets a fastball right down the middle and drills it to center field. Just hit under 300 last year in 102 games. As Brett Gardner playing very shallow in center, and he's got some speed. 25 steals last year. Gets himself to 2nd base and gets into 3rd, kicks it into another gear. Pirates excited about his season coming up.
And Soriano misses to Neil Walker. Walker with a strikeout and a ground ball to 3rd. 0 for 2. And misses again, 2-0.
Yeah, we're starting to see Soriano in spring training, and we've seen him with the Rays last year as their closer and had an outstanding year, and he showed a nice fastball and a little slider. Good slider there. That's kind of what I was looking for. In a fastball count 2-0, does he have the ability to drop a slider in for a strike? It was actually off the plate, and Walker helped him out. But as a Yankee fan, you start looking for pitch patterns. Will he throw his fastball in a fastball count? Can he drop an off-speed pitch in for a strike?
And tries it again and misses. 3-1.
It looked like a pretty good pitch. He didn't get the call from the home plate umpire, Mark Wegner. He went with a slider down and in. 2-1. He tries to drop it on the outside corner, and a nice catch by Molina. Good frame. Gives Wegner a good look, but doesn't get the call.
Goes back to it and gets it across. Full count.
Well, 3 in a row. Be surprised if he throws another slider. He might try to sneak a fastball by Walker.
And instead, Walker lifts one out to left center field. Both Gardner and Dickerson tracking. Gardner's got it, but Tabata will easily tag and score from 3rd. And the Pirates make it a 3-2 game.
Well, nice at bat by Walker right there. 4 sliders in a row. Had a pretty good gauge on that last one. Lifts it out to left center field for a sacrifice and an RBI. And gets a little congratulations from his teammates. Good at bat.
Andrew McCutchen has singled and walked. And a swing and a miss. He actually stole a base in that at bat in the 3rd inning, but ended up falling off the bag and was tagged out by Derek Jeter. And Soriano quickly ahead, 0-2.
It'll be interesting to see how this whole bullpen plays out, Bob. I mean, pretty much Soriano in the 8th, Mariano in the 9th. Jabba Chamberlain looked good recently coming back from that oblique. David Robertson, Boone Logan. Looks like Feliciano is going to be on the DL possibly to start the year. The bullpen is always one of those discussions in spring training, whether it's a strength or a weakness. Within 2 months of the season, it seems to totally change. A couple of new pieces are added as Boone Logan getting loose in the pen.
And Soriano on the 0-2. And fouled away again. And they'd love to have that second left-handed option. Having a hard time keeping those veteran lefties healthy. We know that past couple seasons, that's been the challenge with Damaso Marte, to keep him out there as a second option.
Yeah, I think the Yankees, they obviously have all the pieces in place to have a dominant bullpen. It's just keeping guys healthy. Get Feliciano back earlier than later. Nice block by Molina.
And McCutchen, hard hit right over the glove of Derek Jeter, and that'll be a 2-out base hit.
Good looking young player. McCutchen can really swing the bat. Good athlete with speed. And Soriano, who worked in last night's ball game, coming back a day game after a night game. Pretty much a fastball in the outer half. Not a bad pitch. McCutchen able to cover it, drill it into left center field.
And we see McCutchen once again, the base hit off Rafael Soriano, who's now leaving the game. Joe Girardi went out to the mound, and this is what we're talking about in terms of strategy. Even though we're seeing it mid-game in spring, this is what we might see late game. Soriano leaving as the left-hander Lyle Overbay comes in, and it will be the lefty Boone Logan coming in. So we'll talk more about that, but first a break.
The sounds of spring. It's a symphony best appreciated at full blast. The moment you've been waiting for has arrived. Spring's best event from Cadillac. But like the beauty of spring, it won't last long.
Visit your Tri-State Cadillac dealer or CadillacTristate.com for this exceptional offer.
I also will my private jet, my island in the Maldives, and full control of the family business to my soulmate, Angel. Finally, to my only son, Chauncey, I bequeath my DirecTV and its vast collection of 6,000 shows and movies.
DirecTV now gives you instant access to 6,000 shows and movies at no extra charge.
Yeah! Whoa! Thank you! Yeah!
Don't just watch TV, DirecTV.
Yeah! Marching band's a nice touch.
Yeah, well, these offers are a really big deal.
Who doesn't love a marching band? This guy.
I know, ball energy. You all right? You having fun?
Yeah. Is this just one band?
Oh, yeah.
The Really Big Thing sales event is back. Now leasing a quarter Civic for 0 down payment. But hurry, when the band stops, so do the deals.
2 outs, man on first for the Pirates here in the top half of the 5th inning. And a pitching change, Boone Logan replacing Rafael Soriano with Lyle Overbay coming to the plate.
One walk in 6 innings, giving up 9 hits, 11 strikeouts for Boone Logan. It's a nice piece for the Yankees last year. At the end of the season, a nice lefty out of the pen.
Girarding for the lefty on lefty matchup here. We'll see this a lot during the regular season. Again, McCutchen, when he was on in the 3rd, was off to the races. We'll see if Logan can keep him close and what will happen if he's willing to test Gustavo Molina behind the plate. Hard hit ball to first, but Mark Teixeira's right there. And just like that, Boone Logan does his job, and the Yankees are out of the inning as we go to the bottom of the 5th. And the Yankees on top 3-2.
After a long winter,
It's good to get out and see what's new. I suggest a test drive.
It's the final days of the Lincoln Spring Forward event. One last opportunity at an attractive sign and drive lease with 4 years complimentary maintenance.
It's not just luxury, it's smarter than that.
This is the network, a living, breathing intelligence that's helping business rethink how to do business. In here, inventory can be taught to learn. In here, machines have a voice. In here, medical history follows you, even when you're away from home. It's the AT&T network, a network of possibilities, creating and integrating solutions, helping business and the world work. Rethink possible.
This is comparable to the Corolla.
Why do so many car companies compare themselves to Corolla? Maybe it's because Corolla is the #1 selling car of all time. Or because the Corolla was awarded a 2011 IIHS Top Safety Pick. Lease a 2010 Toyota Corolla for just $149 a month, or get 0% APR financing for 60 months. And when you lease or finance Corolla, get an additional $500 in down payment assistance. We're #1 for a reason. Come see for yourself. Hurry in for the best selection.
Get warmed up for a new baseball season with Yankees Spring Training Report presented by Lincoln. With player interviews, workout highlights, and clubhouse news, our experts are on site in Tampa to break down the big storylines from Bombers camp, prospects, position battles, injury updates, and more. Yankees Spring Training Report, all new today at 4, only on Yes.
Well, later tonight, the Nets are in Atlanta to battle the Hawks. Complete coverage starts at 6:30 with the Nets pregame. Then Mike Fratello and Ryan Rucco bring you the call from the court. Nets, Hawks, it all starts tonight at 6:30, only on Yes. That's Gustavo Molina leading things off here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Replaced Austin Romine an inning ago. This is his first at bat of the afternoon. Kevin Correa is still in the game. He's given up 4 hits and 3 runs to the Yankees. And Molina the chopper foul.
We saw his spring training numbers there. What was it, 1 for 14 on our Audi scoreboard? The Yankees out front 3-2. It reminds me, Bob, I made my first major league team out of spring training. It was 1 for 13. I think that comes out to 0.77, somewhere in that range. But had a nice spring throw in behind the plate. And John Marzano, who was the backup to Tony Pena, got hurt. And an opportunity to back up a big league veteran, Tony Pena.
And Molina the chopper to third. Alvarez on to first, and 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. And isn't that a similar situation to what they've got now? Really need that good defensive catcher, a guy who might allow some other guys to stay in the minors, get their seasoning. And
I guess the whole idea here is how long is it going to take for Francisco Cervelli to get back? In the clubhouse today, you heard maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3. We don't know if that's official or not. So you're talking maybe 4 or 5 games for a backup at the beginning of the year. Go back there and catch and throw and work a pitcher and see if you can pick up a win.
Was that a last-minute call for you, by the way?
Well, I was actually sent down to AAA, and then when the Red Sox went to play the Yankees opening day 1992, got a call that morning. So I guess that's as last minute as you can get a call.
Did you have a place to stay?
Well, it was crazy. I actually drove from Florida back to Rockland County, New York to watch my younger brother Keith play a high school baseball game on my way to Pawtucket, Rhode Island, AAA for the Red Sox. And so I was in New York, a half-hour away from Yankee Stadium, and got that call.
And Brett Gardner to the right side. Overbay will feed Correa for the 2nd out.
And this is how the conversation went, Bob. How far are you from Yankee Stadium? About 30 minutes. Can you get there in time for a 1 o'clock game, opening day, Red Sox Yankees? Absolutely. And I was there, an opening day, obviously, with the old stadium. A lot of fans. It took me about an hour and a half, but arrived just in time to be introduced out on the field in Yankee Stadium. First day in the big league, so it happened quick.
First day intro at Yankee Stadium.
Bob Shepard, number 15. John Flaherty. Never forget it, number 15.
Derek Jeter stepping in with 2 outs. Did you get to bring any family members? Was it that quick?
It was too late.
Yeah,
it was too late. I mean, they drove down trying to get there. I think I was able to leave them some tickets, but it was a blur.
And Jeter a chopper to short in a 1-2-3 inning here in the 5th for Kevin Correa and the Pirates, who will take it to the top of the 6th, still trailing the Yankees 3-2.
It works with people. It works with cars. The newly refined Acura TL. Aggression in its most elegant form.
If you think you have to put off getting a new car, think twice, as in Bay Ridge Nissan.
And Nissan of Manhattan.
The combined strength of two of New York's biggest Nissan dealers can offer you easy, low-cost financing.
With twice the selection, twice the credit available. That means our prices just can't be beat, and we can prove it.
Just bring in any ad. 2 times the service.
2 times the savings.
So come in and see how the power of 2
Makes beating any price
twice as nice.
The in crowd. They know the in spots, the in places, inside and out. They know the beautiful people. And they know how to get there in style. The in crowd, those who choose Infinity of Manhattan. In Manhattan, yet in keeping with low price and high quality, and inviting the tri-state area to save on
the G25X at an insider's price of only $169 per month.
So get into the in crowd. Get into Infinity of Manhattan.
Sniffing out the best pre-owned Lexus is now Puppy's Play at preownedplatinum.com. Fetch the pick of the litter from the inventories of the Tri-State's leading Lexus dealers. That's hundreds of cars from which we pick the highest value, lowest priced Lexus in the market that day. Unconditional love or exchange it within 48 hours. At preownedplatinum.com, pedigree is assured by a Carfax vehicle history. We are doggedly committed to making credit easy. So log on now. The pick of the Lexus litter is waiting for you at preownedplatinum.com. We lick those other websites.
Top of the 6th, as Alvarez, the third baseman with the Pirates, leads things off against Boone Logan. Logan relieved Rafael Soriano last inning and got Lyle Overbay to ground to first and end the inning, and a little bit of a Pirates threat. They did get one back in the 5th, make it a 3-2 game. And a swing and a miss.
Yeah, Bob, I was talking to Greg Ritchie, the hitting instructor for the Pittsburgh Pirates, about Alvarez this morning, and he said, you know, every step he made in the minor leagues, he kind of struggled at the beginning and then really came on the second half.
Boone Logan, no problem dispatching Alvarez there.
And kind of a weak swing at a slider. Nice pitch by Boone Logan, but the point was from Greg Ritchie there looking on, he gets better when he gets to the next level. And last year in September, he really came on, so excited about what he can do this year.
Now I'm making an observation. I saw Greg Ritchie there. He just looks like he went to probably a university that you had to be really smart to get into.
Well, look at him. He's taking notes. So obviously a student of the game, they say.
Right.
But Greg, actually a teammate of mine at George Washington University. He was a senior when I was a freshman. Actually led the country in hitting. How about that?
That's impressive.
Hit over 400 at GW and went on for a nice 10-year career in the minor leagues. Never made it to the big leagues. Played with the Giants in the minor leagues. And then threw another 15 or 16, he told me, as a minor league hitting instructor. And here he is, his first chance in the big leagues, Pittsburgh Pirates.
You know, I've learned since meeting you to expect nothing less than excellence from anybody who attended George Washington University.
Wow. Now the bar is set. I didn't realize you had those expectations for me, and I haven't given it to you in 6 innings in this game. I got to pick it up the next 4.
Drive to center field by Garrett Jones off Logan for a 1-out base hit. Well, Yankees opening day is Thursday when the Yankees open their 2011 season against the Tigers in the Bronx. Complete coverage on Yes starts at noon with an extended Tri-State Ford pregame. Then Michael Kay and Ken Singleton bring you all the action from Yankee Stadium. Tigers Yankees opening day coverage, and it starts Thursday at noon only on Yes. Pitching change is Boone Logan. Exits stage right, and David Robertson comes in out of the pen. We'll take a quick break. We'll talk more about Robertson and where we're at in the game.
Henson, We're going to go over sales figures, complete this merger, and present to the board. Sink your teeth into some Big and Toasty if you understand.
Good. You've got spunk.
A big day calls for the new Big and Toasty. Wrap your hands around fried eggs, cherrywood smoked bacon, and cheese on Texas toast. America runs on Dunkin'.
Yep, you can get a great deal on every Volkswagen, including the 2011 Jetta.
Awesome.
Plus, it's an IIHS top safety pick.
Even better.
But they're going fast.
So I guess this is where you tell me I gotta hurry or it's gone, right?
Yep. Going, gone. Get it? It's funny.
The Volkswagen Going, Gone event. Hurry in, and for a limited time while they last, get a 2011 Jetta for $179 a month. Visit VWDealer.com today.
Get out of the cookie-cutter carpool and ditch the box on wheels for this. The road-ripping Mazda 3. It outperforms Civic and Corolla with more standard horsepower plus 16-inch wheels, and comes with available high-tech features like push-button start and Bluetooth phone and audio technology. Now get a low $149 a month, 36-month lease on the Mazda 3, but only through March.
Your therapeutic shampoo is finally paying off.
We are going out tonight!
Just another reason to celebrate with Fridays, where right now it's 3 full courses for just $12.99. In here, it's always Friday.
New pitcher for the Yankees here in the top half of the 6th. And it's David Robertson replacing Boone Logan. Garrett Jones with a base hit off Boone Logan after he had struck out Pedro Alvarez. So it's Robertson's job now to finish things off in the 6th. He'll face Ronnie Cedeno to lead things off.
13 strikeouts in 6 2/3. Joe Girardi and Larry Rothschild, pitching coach, kind of mixing and matching this afternoon after a night game last night, an afternoon game today.
We talked about guys trying to get in a groove as the regular season approaches. Cedeno already has a base hit in this game. He's 1 for 2, and he came into this game hitting .323 his last 11. So trying to find some consistency, which is for their Pirates team has been lacking over the course of many years. Yeah, Robertson with a strike, quickly ahead 0-2.
Yeah, good fastball for strike 1, and then the power curve for strike 2 ahead in the count. We got plenty of options now. We've seen David Robertson elevate that fastball in the zone, can bounce a curveball, try to get a strikeout. A nice opportunity for Molina behind the plate, really, to get a good look at these relievers like Joe Girardi was telling us. You can catch a guy in the pen and get a feel for his pitches, but you really want to get a feel for what he's trying to do during the course of a ball game. Setting a hitter up, what pitch is he going to go to when he needs a strikeout.
And that ball getting away from Molina, and Jones will advance to second.
And this comes into play here. You bounce a curveball, you want to know where David Robertson's make his mistake, and it looks like it backs up. Molina expecting it to go down and away. It ends up down and in to Cedeno, and a little bit late trying to block it. It's what spring training is all about. It'll be a wild pitch.
And fouled away. And Robertson inside to Cedeno. Evens a count at 2-2. Garrett Jones is on second. A chance for Cedeno to tie the game. And lifting one foul into the seats. What do you want to see from David Robertson this year? We've seen the consistency, seen some occasional slow spots, maybe July, August. What's the next step for him?
Well, obviously to put together one of those years where he I guess, stays healthy the whole year and just has a dominant season because the stuff is there. But David Robertson's been a very, very productive under-the-radar reliever for the Yankees.
And driven into center field, Brett Gardner on it. That'll chase Jones back to second. 2 outs.
You know, by under the radar, I mean, I know his teammates and his coaching staff and the manager definitely appreciate him. But, you know, Jabba gets so much attention, and Mariano, and rightfully so. And David's just one of those guys who comes in, racks up the strikeouts, maybe has a bad game here or there, but seems to get himself right back on track. We're going to pitch some valuable innings in the middle of ball games, you know, probably the 6th and 7th inning.
2 outs now here in the 6th. And Jason Jaramillo, his 3rd at bat. He's doubled, grounded to second.
Not bad numbers, 462 with a home run and 7 RBIs when you're trying to fight your way on a ball club.
Good off-speed pitch from Robertson. Gets the count to 1-1. And Robertson inside part of the plate gets a strike. 2-2.
It always amazes me with David Robertson and his fastball. I mean, it doesn't light up a radar gun. It's 90. That fastball there, 91. But it always seems to play a little bit harder. I don't know if it's because of that curveball that he threw before it. The ball really jumps out of his hand.
Well, Molina blocks that one. Nice work. Figures that one out.
Now he's going to look at some of these curveballs now. And you're right, a nice block right next to home plate. It's pretty much textbook. You expect it down and in. If Robertson's going to make a mistake, that's where it ends up. Nice angle of his body and blocks it right back towards home plate. It's as good as it gets right there.
And the 3-2. And a terrific pitch from David Robertson to finish off Jaramillo. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. Yanks up 3-2.
No force like the one that comes from joining forces. No strength like strength in numbers. The kind of numbers delivered by Ram 1500, a 390 horsepower Hemi V8, 20 MPG, a 5-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Strength in numbers. Now, during Ram Truck Month.
Lease Ram 1500 with a no extra charge Hemi V8 for $299 a month for well-qualified lessees. Hurry, offer ends soon.
This year, get the most out of your lawn with the fertilizer that gives you the most for your money. Scott's Turf Builder. Unlike bargain brands, which have up to 40% sand, sawdust, even gravel, Turf Builder has no filler. It's 100% food for a deep feeding you can see, feel, and enjoy. For a lawn that can't be beat, get a fertilizer that can't be copied. Scott's Turf Builder. Now's the time to feed and prevent crabgrass. Use Scott's Turf Builder with Halts.
Get to Nissan now for the offer you need on the Nissan you want. This is Nissan Now. Get special pricing on our full line. Sedans, trucks and SUVs, crossovers. Now, lease Altima, just $189. Or Rogue, just $199. Visit ChooseNissan.com or see your local Nissan dealer today. Event ends March 31st. Get in now.
Brook Lopez has been an absolute monster in 3 games against the Hawks this season. Tonight, the big man looks to continue his dominance over Atlanta as he leads the Nets in their chance to take the season series with the Hawks. Nets, Hawks. Coverage starts tonight at 6:30, only on Yes.
Well, follow the New York Yankees with MLB.com at BAT11 for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get spring training scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text @BAT to 31826 or visit Yankees.com for details. As we go to the bottom of the sixth, the 3-4-5 hitters for the Yankees: Teixeira, A-Rod, Swisher. Let's go down that checklist. Let's see what kind of a technological wizard you are in this year 2011. You have an iPhone?
I do not, but my daughter does. Does that count?
One in the house. iPad?
I do not.
Android?
Do not.
BlackBerry?
Yes, sir.
All right. I know you're pretty tech savvy in the Flaherty household.
I saw our Kim Jones has an iPad. Very impressed.
Yep, she has trouble with that thing. Well, Mark Teixeira today has walked, scored in the first inning when he was aboard when Alex Rodriguez went deep, and then he grounded to second in the third. And a chopper to the right side. Overbay will take it himself. One out. You notice people with iPads, like Michael Kay has one too, Jack Curry, they never actually let you use them. Have you noticed that?
Well, I've noticed with Michael that he spreads out the iPad when he's doing a game. And he's very, very protective of it. Is that your point? Like,
yeah.
They never let you work with it?
Right. Exactly.
It almost seems like he's doing a game with the iPad instead of his partner in the booth.
You know, he might be. Or maybe he's just wishing that. Is that the vibe you're getting from Michael? Or?
Yeah, it's just refreshing to actually work with somebody where you feel like there are two human beings in the booth doing the game as opposed to an iPad in the middle.
By the way, I meant to tell you this. You and I are scheduled to do the games Monday and Tuesday, but I have a robot standing in on Tuesday. I need to get back.
An Android?
Yeah, it'll be an Android. Which still has some speech recognition issues, so Flaherty might come across as Flaherty.
That's happened before. It doesn't bother me.
Alex Rodriguez to the hole at short. Flip by Cedeno. Got him. Nice defensive play by Ronnie Cedeno.
Well, Alex Rodriguez rolls over a slider, and Cedeno just makes a great play going to his right. Getting to the baseball isn't the best part of this play. It's the off-balance, long throw across the diamond, and it's right on the money to get Alex Rodriguez by a half a step. Cedeno, who made 18 errors last year and 6 in the final 9 games of the season, makes an outstanding play on Alex Rodriguez, robbing him of an infield hit.
And here's Nick Swisher. A strikeout, a single. He scored in the fourth. And that so far is the leading run in this 3-2 Yankees game.
You know, Bob, I think about these at-bats here in the 6th inning. You know, you only got a few more spring training games left. Really tough not to kind of give them away and not concentrate. If you're Nick Swisher, Alex Rodriguez, Mark Teixeira, you really got to bear down, because the last thing you want to do is get into a bad mechanic here, you know, a bad habit at the end of spring training and take it into the year. Kind of feel the intensity here late in these spring training games. Not as intense as it obviously is going to be during the year. You really got to battle. Keep your concentration.
And swing and a miss. And you get the feeling that Kevin Correa might be in some of these games if you said his offense, you know, needs to give him some runs. If they don't, he might be in a lot of these 3-2, 2-1 games, really having to kind of grind and get through it and keep his team close.
Yeah, he's done a nice job in this ball game after that Alex Rodriguez long home run to put the Yankees on the board 2-0.
Nick Swisher just reaches out and punches one into right field for a 2-out base hit.
Well, a good sign for Nick. His last at bat, he had a base hit going the other way, and this at bat he was fooled. It looked like a curveball out on his front foot a little bit, able to hook it into right center field. So good signs for him. Not his perfect swing, but able to keep some length through the zone. You see the bat go right back towards the pitcher. Stays in the hitting zone a long time and picks up a base hit.
And he'll get a pinch runner. As Jorge Posada comes in, he has struck out and walked today. Austin Crum replacing Nick Swisher at first. And Correa misses 1-1.
.91 pitches for Correa, so he's getting his pitch count up where he wants it to be for his opening day start next week. That's a tough place to open up, huh? Chicago against the Cubs. Be nice and chilly.
Posada lifting one out to left field. Left center, and it'll be Andrew McCutchen with the catch in front of his teammate Jose Tabata. So we take it to the 7th with the Yanks still up by 1.
Thursday at noon, only on Yes.
As we head to the top of the 7th, let's take a look at the game summary presented by Lincoln. Manny Banuelos got the start with CC Sabathia. Would have been his turn, but he worked on a backfield against minor league hitters. So Banuelos looked good, allowed just 2 hits over 3 innings and a run. Alex Rodriguez, though, backed him up with a titanic 2-run home run in the bottom of the first, his 6th of the spring. And then Chris Dickerson, impressing in the trade for Milwaukee. First chance to play with his new teammates, 2 for 2, a double, a run batted in. Been very productive as well. It's a 3-2 Yankees lead. Multiple changes for the Yankees, including at pitcher as we take a look at the 3-2 Yankees lead on the Ford scoreboard. Jabba Chamberlain now in. Justin Maxwell has moved into right field. Austin Crum, who came into pinch run for Nick Swisher, is in center.
Take a look at Jabba and his spring training numbers. 6 strikeouts in 7 innings. Has given up 8 hits. Obviously battled a little oblique problem. Seems to be healthy.
And he's facing the now number 9 hitter. Kevin Correa started this game on the mound and at the plate for the Pirates, but Clint Hurdle now pinch hitting. Ryan Domit is in at bat against Jabba. Jabba at 96 misses up 1-1.
233 for Domit. I saw Jabba pitch in Sarasota against Baltimore, his first outing from that oblique, and he looked outstanding. Gave up a home run on a hanging curveball to J.J. Hardy, but the ball really jumping out of his hand. A good fastball and a good slider. He worked in last night's ball game, so another reliever pitching a day game after a night game, getting ready for the season.
How important is that? You're getting these guys back-to-back reps now.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised, a little night game, day game coming right back, and obviously it happens during the season, but you know, Joe Girardi and Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, deciding to get them ready for regular action.
And Jabba with a strikeout to start things off here in the 7th.
This hole at bat was nasty for Jabba Chamberlain. You mentioned the 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and that's a slider down and in. Domit has no chance. He dropped a little curveball for a strike also early in the count. Jabba looking as good as we have seen him in spring training.
He'll face Jose Tabata. Missing 1-0. Swing and a miss at 97.
What do you think, Bob, with Jabba? I mean, I feel like his career is kind of at a crossroads, you know. I mean, he's obviously burst onto the scene.
And a base hit up the middle for Tabata with 1 out.
And they bring Soriano in to pitch the 8th inning. It seems like, you know, he needs to go out there and really open up some eyes again. And it looks like he's healthy because the ball jumping out of his hand, like I said earlier.
I really feel at this point, it's almost you have 2 roads to go down. And you want to go down the road of you can become that lockdown guy again if you're healthy and your stuff is good and you feel good. Of really shortening games for the Yankees and contributing, or you're going to fall into that other area of, well, how can we use him? How is he effective? You might not get as much work. You can't be relied upon. So which road do you want to take? And I think that's the decision that Jaba's got to make, and well, hopefully it's the right one.
Well, I read some things with Jaba saying that, his velocity is further along at this point in spring training than it's ever been. Usually it takes him a little time during the season. That's good news for Yankee fans.
I don't know if you noticed this from that last outing you were talking about. Is he working a little faster too? It seems like his intent is there. Boom, boom, boom. He got rid of Domit very quickly.
Yeah, Mike Mussina used to say this as he throws over again. It becomes mindless out there when everything is locked in. You're not thinking about your mechanics. Larry Rothschild and Jaba talked about a little bit of an adjustment with his hands. But when I watch him pitch in Sarasota that afternoon and early on in this inning, he's not thinking about anything mechanically, it looks like to me. It's just, how can I attack this hitter and execute the pitch?
One of the other defensive changes for the Yankees at first base, Eric Chavez taking over from Mark Teixeira. Neil Walker's at the plate, 0 for 2 on the day. A strikeout, ground ball to third, and a sacrifice fly back in the 5th that gave the Pirates their second run. And Tabata on the run and a foul ball. Ramiro Pena has taken over for Derek Jeter at shortstop. Flash, even though he might only catch the last 5 innings of this game, how valuable is this for Gustavo Molina to have worked with Mariano Rivera, Rafael Soriano, now Jaba Chamberlain?
Well, obviously it's a short, opportunity for him in an inning or, a couple of batters in a spring training game, but it's important. And I remember making the team in 03 as a backup player, and you wanted to get as many reps as you could with all of your pitchers so that when you go into a spring training game, you at least have a little bit of a comfort level.
And a chopper to short. Pena. So looked like they might have had him at first. Not the case though. Good hustle by Neil Walker, but they do get the out at second for out number 2.
Your Walker doesn't hit this ball real hard. Pena does a nice job of charging it over to Nunez, and actually a very nice turn. Not going to be able to turn the double play as Walker runs pretty good. I've been impressed with Nunez there at second base. He usually plays a lot of shortstop coming through the minor leagues. Was able to get rid of that ball in pretty good shape. Had a lot on the throw.
So Walker at first, 2 outs, and Andrew McCutchen up against Jaba. McCutchen, couple singles and a walk this afternoon. Driven out into shallow left center field. That'll drop in front of Dickerson for a base hit as the runner advances. Runners at the corners now, 2 outs.
Third hit on the afternoon for McCutchen. He also mixed in a walk, so he's having a perfect afternoon. And we'll check out the swing. It's a fastball up, and McCutchen hits it right off the end of the bat. Takes a big swing. You can see he's not happy with himself. I think that big swing fooled the center fielder Crum and the left fielder Chris Dickerson, and falls in for a base hit, first and third with 2 outs. You got to watch McCutchen at first base. Possibility of stealing a bag. Stole 33 last year for the Pirates.
And Lyle Overbay 0 for 3 so far today. We saw Walker run. Clint Hurdle might be thinking, hey, we've got a first and third. Maybe try the steal, see if they bite, get a run in, and tie the game. And a fake break for McCutchen. And a strike for Java.
Yeah, with Lyle Overbay, he's had a great spring training, really swinging the bat well. Clint Hurdle might give him the opportunity to swing the bat. If he gets behind in the count 1-2, you might see McCutchen trying to steal a run here, steal second, and see if Walker can steal a run at home.
And grounded to short. Pena to Chavez, and that'll do it here in the 7th inning. So we hit the 7th inning stretch. Yankees on top, 3-2.
How can your car respond to over 10,000 voice commands?
A Monday night at 7 o'clock, spring training coverage continues when the Yankees host the Rays at Steinbrenner Field. Then after the game, catch the season finale of Yankees Spring Training Report presented by Lincoln with the latest news live from Tampa. It all starts Monday at 7 only on Yes. And of course, we will have Yankee Spring Training Report presented by Lincoln after this game today. We'll join Kim Jones. You know what? Let's talk a little baseball on that show. We, of course, will do that. Have all the news of the day. The decision to make Freddie Garcia the number 5 starter. Bartolo Colon in the bullpen. Chris Dickerson now batting here in the bottom of the 7th. And one thing we didn't even mention, the minor league signing of Kevin Millwood. So another option for them in terms of a veteran pitcher.
It sounds like Kevin's going to be able to get himself in shape as you see the numbers for Veras in spring training. And I think I saw something, he had an out in his contract on May 1st, so
right.
Able to show the Yankees what he can do in the minor leagues, and then there might be an opportunity for him. What about opportunities and taking advantage of it? Chris Dickerson this afternoon, 2 for 2, a double, single, and an RBI. They're right off the plane last night in Tampa. Show up here early in the morning. Go lay out a couple of line drives. Good for him.
And Dickerson continues to impress. His 3rd hit of the afternoon, a base hit to left.
It's a nasty pitch from Veras, too. A little slider inside. What we've seen from Dickerson and what Kevin Long is observing, he has a nice little inside-out swing. Does not try to pull the baseball, stays on it and goes the other way. Like the way he lets the ball really travel deep, doesn't have a big stride. It's not that easy, Bob, coming off a plane, showing up, new teammates, new hitting coach, and drop out 3 hits.
Go to Kevin Long for advice, and he'll say, just do whatever you did there, just do it again.
Don't change a thing.
Well, here's Eduardo Nunez. Nunez lifting one foul. Nunez is struck out swinging. Hit into that odd inning-ending infield fly rule double play in the 4th.
Might not be a bad opportunity for Dickerson here. Let's see if he can steal a base. I mean, if he does make this team, probably be as an extra outfielder, possible pinch runner late.
And they pitch out thinking that, but he gets back safely.
I see him looking over at Rob Thompson, the 3rd base coach. You wonder if he even knows the signs. I'm sure Rob went through him with him, but he had so much on his mind the last couple of days with the trade and getting here to Tampa. It's been a whirlwind.
Well, he almost caught him leaning a little bit there, but he gets back in time.
It's always my favorite with Rob when he finishes the signs, the 2 fists clapping together, trying to act big league down there at 3rd base in the coaching box.
Dickerson's on the go, and Nunez popping one up to first and into foul territory, out number 1.
It looked like a hit and run. Dickerson did not look like he had a great jump. He's kind of flat-footed, making sure that Veras went home. Again, we'll check out the jump, and it's not great. More of a hit and run, peeking into Nunez to make sure he's going to put the ball in play, and he does, but he pops it up. Dickerson able to get back to first easily.
And with one away, Gustavo Molina will bat for a second time in this game. He grounded third his first time up.
Now you got to pay attention right at the end there. See that little put the two fists together, style points for your third base coach. Not too many guys who can pull that off.
Maybe that's a way of cementing in the call. Locks it in. Boom.
When he has his meeting with the players, when you see me put the two fists together, that's when the signs are done, and I'm showing the fans I'm cool at third base in the box.
Well, that's not a good sign that he's looks like Dickerson's just limping out off the field a little bit. Look, he's grabbing the back of his left leg there. So maybe when he turned around on that pop fly and went back to the base, he tweaked something. We'll try and get an update on that. In the meantime, a pinch runner comes in. One out here, bottom of the seventh. And Gustavo Molina trying to get a hit. Looks at a strike 0-2.
There's never been a question about Jose Veras and his stuff. I mean, he's arms and legs all over the place, and a power fastball, a good slider. Be considered a very uncomfortable at bat if you're a right-handed hitter. If he could throw the ball over the plate consistently, he's going to have a nice career for himself.
Swing and a miss for Molina. Out number 2. And we talked about some of the wholesale changes last inning defensively. In the outfield, you saw Austin Crum move into center field. Justin Maxwell out to right. With Gardner out, it's Eric Chavez taking his spot atop the order. He's in at first for Mark Teixeira. So Chavez here with his first at bat. Again, a great night last night. Flash 3 for 3. First homer of the spring. Looks like he's trying to get it locked in here as spring training wears down.
No, it's interesting what our Kim Jones told us. He's kind of shortened his swing. The results have been there this spring training. Found it interesting that he took this job knowing he was going to be a backup player if he made the team. And, you know, from a health standpoint, it could extend his career, you know, a few years. You accept your role, give the Yankees some pop off the bench, left-handed power. Can play both corner infields. Obviously a Gold Glover at third base when he was healthy.
And fouling one away behind the plate. Pinch runner at first base, by the way, for Chris Dickerson is Zoilo Almonte. Two outs, bottom of the seventh. Eric Chavez trying to extend the inning, facing Jose Veras. You know, it's almost like you were talking about Chavez. Maybe he has the perspective of, I can make a career out of this. He's had it as a starter. He got a great payday, great contract from the A's. So he's made some good money. Maybe now it's, I can make another 10 years out of this if I can just be a good supplemental player, fill a lot of gaps, help a team, get a championship.
Yeah, I'm sure that that last part is probably the most important for Eric. You know, chasing a ring, you know, the possibility you come to New York and try to contribute off the bench. And, you know, the bottom line is you got a great chance to go to the postseason. And if you get on a good run, hopefully a World Series championship. Not a bad place to be for a veteran player.
And Veras with a strike. Count goes full 3-2.
To be honest with you, Bob, it's easier for a veteran guy like Chavez to take this role and run with it, you know, because you've already had your time in the sun. You've already gotten the big payday like you mentioned. Now you know you get ready for maybe 1 or 2 days a week. Mentally, you don't fight yourself.
Almonte's on the go. Chavez lifts one out to shallow center, really behind the bag, and it'll be Walker with the catch. So we take it to the 8th, 3-2, Yankees lead it.
Nissan now for the offer you need on the Nissan you want. This is Nissan Now. Get special pricing on our full line. Sedans, trucks and SUVs, crossovers. Now, lease Altima, just $189. Or Rogue, just $199. Visit ChooseNissan.com or see your local Nissan dealer today. Event ends March 31st. Get in now.
Drive home with your best deal from Lee's Toyota, where you will find a giant display of new and used Toyotas. Family owned and operated for over 50 years, Lee's has been known as the hallmark of honesty, integrity, quality, and service in the automotive trade. New Corollas, 0% financing for up to 60 months. You own it. New Camry, 0% financing for up to 60 months. You own it. New RAV4, 0% financing for up to 60 months. You own it with no down payment necessary. Come in and see what a great deal really is at Lee's Toyota.
Vanessa insisted on high ceilings in a full-service building brimming with amenities. Stephen needed a skyline view from inside the park, a quick commute, and a fine aged cognac. No compromising was necessary. Life, surrounded by 85 acres of park. One Brooklyn Bridge Park, one of a kind.
Moving? Call, pack, kick back. That's all it takes to move your DirecTV. One call before moving, pack your receiver, and we do the rest. Just call, pack, kick back, and ask about 3 free months of HBO and Cinemax, or Stars and Showtime, plus our special equipment upgrade offer. So make your move easy. Call DirecTV.
Top of the 8th with the Yankees leading 3-2. More changes for the Yankees, including on the mound. The veteran Mark Pryor will take over.
He's had a nice spring training. 10 strikeouts, 6 2/3 innings. Showing the Yankees that he can still pitch coming back from those injuries. I guess the question for the Yankees, can he hold up during the course of a full season? Decisions still have to be made.
But again, you got to have options, and if he's one of them, that might be a good thing. Go down, spend some time in AAA, and be ready when you're called. Pedro Alvarez leads things off in the 8th. A walk, a single, and a strikeout today. Also scored a run. That was back in the 2nd. Swing and a miss. And Pryor ahead 1-2.
Pryor has a nice little short arm delivery, and the ball really sneaks up on you. Again, the velocity 90-91, and it's pretty straight. Goes with that split finger grip behind his right leg, and then makes the adjustment in the glove depending on what pitch he wants to throw.
Well, just like that, he sends Pedro Alvarez packing for out number 1.
Again, it's that short arm delivery, and you got to believe it's tough to pick up the baseball because the fastball straight. The velocity 91, 92 miles an hour right by Alvarez, 3 in a row. Impressive at bat for Pryor.
So Garrett Jones will take a try. Popped to second, struck out, singled back in the 6th. And Pryor misses 1-0. Pryor falling behind 3-0.
Garrett Jones, a guy who has plenty of power. 21 home runs last year, 86 RBIs. Sounds like he might be in a little bit of a platoon situation with Matt Diaz came over from the Atlanta Braves. Right-handed hitter with a little power.
And Pryor strike away, 3-1. And Pryor misses, so a 1-out walk for Garrett Jones. It'll bring Ronnie Cedeno to the plate. He is struck out swinging. Base hit and lined out to center field. Swing and a miss. I'd like to inform our viewers of something. You know, as you wind up spring training, well, people come here for the experience. Any ball game, you come for, whether it's the baseball, the food is obviously, you could have a dog, a brat, burger, chips, popcorn, Dippin' Dots. Guess what John Flaherty has in the booth for us today to snack on? Sell it, Flash.
Well, it's definitely not a brat, although that actually sounded really good. We've got some raw almonds here, Bob.
Raw almonds as we wrap up spring training.
Just a little health for you, you know, take it into the season. You don't want to get into bad habits early on.
I like the intent, but I'm concerned about once you join us in the studio, when the regular season begins, what you're going to be eating when you get there. As the ball gets away, they got a shot at him at second. Nice ricochet off the wall. Nice throw by Doug Bernier. And Garrett Jones punched out at second.
Those crazy plays in spring training where the ball ricochets off the wall. You see Pryor slips a little bit, gets away from the first baseman Rye, but good hustle by Bernier going to a spot, gets the good ricochet, and then a nice throw to Pena at second base. Bounces right back off the wall, and it's not a bad base running play by Garrett Jones. It was just a bad hop off the wall, and he gets caught. Ooh, good curveball, misses. You know, Bob, you were talking about my raw almonds. See, what I do for you is I come in here with a bag of raw almonds.
Right.
When I go to the studio, what do you do to me?
You get a bowl full of M&Ms right in front of you.
Yeah.
Yep. Dark chocolate, though. Dark chocolate's good for you.
Every man has his breaking point.
You have not shown that lately, though. Pop fly, and that'll do it. So Mark Pryor looking good. Yankees up 3-2.
While others are content to imitate, we'll continue to innovate. The Lexus RX. Why settle for a copy when you can own the original? Lease the 2011 RX 350 for $469 a month for 36 months with $39.44 due at signing. See your Lexus dealer.
40 years ago, he wasn't worried about retirement. He'd yet to hear of mutual funds, IRAs, or annuities. Back then, he had something more important to do. He wasn't focused on his future. But fortunately, somebody else was. At USAA, we provide retirement solutions for our military, veterans, and their families. From investments to life insurance to healthcare options. Learn more with our free USAA Retirement Guide. Call 877-242-USAA.
Have you ever had a ticket package that included everything you want? The Trenton Thunder, AA affiliate of the New York Yankees, have created that package just for you. Our Rivals plan includes 6 of our best games against the Phillies, Mets, and Red Sox. It also includes 4 fireworks nights, 2 giveaway nights, and a free Thunder hat. To top it off, we've included a free hot dog, popcorn, and soda at each game. Visit TrentonThunder.com to reserve your plan today. Trenton Thunder Baseball. Fun happens here.
It's amazing what the right key can do for you. Whether it's getting to work or as far from it as possible. And now that Chevy Truck Month is here, it's time to get the keys that you can depend on. During Chevy Truck Month, qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a 2011 Tahoe.
Find your nearest dealer on ChevyOffers.com.
Well, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the New York Yankees. On to the bottom half of the 8th inning. And the 2, 3, 4 hitters, obviously, which have changed from the beginning of the game for the Yankees, and there's a change at pitcher for the Pirates. Mike Crotta out of the pen.
Mike Crotta having an outstanding spring training. 114 opponents batting average against. Impressive numbers, only 4 hits and 10 in the third.
One of the guys battling for 2 spots in that bullpen, 2 open spots. 4 pitchers right now vying for that. A couple lefties that are veterans. You know the names: Garrett Olson, Brian Burris. And then Crotta is joined by Chris LaRue. Some right-handers who have impressed him. So got a chance to make the big league club here. He'll face Ramiro Pena to lead things off, as the Yankees lead it 3-2. Pena 194 spring, a couple runs batted in.
Oh, Bob, you see that batting average obviously under 200. The Yankees know what they have with Ramiro Pena. Has been a steady utility guy for them. Good infielder, can play a little bit of the outfield. Doesn't have a whole lot of power. Obviously you want to have good spring trainings, but the Yankees know what they have.
Grounded foul by the Pirates dugout. Pena, hot shot into left field, and he'll lead things off here in the bottom of the 8th with a base hit. And that'll bring up Justin Maxwell for the Yankees, a defensive replacement. Now getting his first at bat. You know, Flash, just one final footnote on the raw almonds that you brought, which are delicious, by the way. You can tell they're very fresh. What I've learned today is that if you want to actually speak during a televised broadcast, probably not a good idea to eat the raw almonds, because I've cleared my throat about 47 times.
Well, that's the reason I eat them late in the game, so I don't speak anymore.
Oh, I get it.
You're on your own.
I'm going to have a few more and mime the rest of this show.
Pittsburgh Pirates pretty much going with their regulars here all the way into the 8th inning, getting them ready for their opening day next week in Chicago.
Pena at first with a leadoff base hit and being chased back. Bunt by Maxwell, trying to sneak it by the pitcher. He'll glove it on to first, but he advances the runner.
Well, Maxwell's going to get a nice little round of applause from the crowd here at Steinbrenner Field. Teammates showing a little bit of appreciation. The manager, Joe Girardi, likes that. Sacrifice bunt executed perfectly. Ramiro Pena into scoring position.
And that'll bring up Ronnie Belliard, who replaced Alex Rodriguez at third base. He's had a very quiet spring. And once they started to get a good look at some other guys, he kind of fell off the radar.
Yeah, that battling those calf problems early in spring training cost him a little bit of time. Tough to get going after that.
Pena on second, 1 out. And Belliard looks at a strike. This is where the Pirates as a team this year will be able to help themselves. If they can get some of these young guys with some confidence late in the game, close game, get guys out, that's what they need. But again, that's been a soft spot for the Pirates, and certainly Clint Hurdle's got to find a way to manage that bullpen and get the most out of his guys. Belliard hard hit to third. Alvarez has it, holds the runner. 2 outs. And with 2 outs, Austin Crum will come to the plate. Crum replacing Nick Swisher as a pinch runner, and then move to center field.
Play by Jaramillo behind the plate. 94 miles an hour on the fastball. Not enough time to block it with your body. Nice little backhanded pick. Keep Ramiro Pena at second base. Looks like Jaramillo behind the plate going to go the distance, Bob. And again, we talked, he's a guy who's fighting for a job on this team. Had a good spring with the bat.
Shot to the right side. Crum with a base hit. Pena will round. He will score. And Crum has a run batted in. And the Yankees have a 4-2 lead.
It looked like Crum gets a fastball out over the plate. Actually middle in. Turns his hands over. Drills it between the hole, between first and second. Garrett Jones comes on. He's not going to have a play. Actually had a play to throw behind Crum at first, a little off the line.
Well, good work by Crum to get a run in. He stands on first with 2 outs. And now Jorge Posada will come to the plate. A strikeout, a walk, and a fly ball to center field have been the details of his day.
This is one of those at-bats, Bob, we talked about earlier. For a veteran player late in the game in spring training, your 4th at-bat of the afternoon. Can you keep that mental focus? Well, Jaramillo thinking about showing off his arm again. It looks like he gets caught up. His footwork gets caught up. I always say catchers are the best athletes out on the field, but I don't know about on this one.
You know, that statement, just speaks for itself. I know what you mean. The best conditioned, is that what you're saying?
The smartest guys bet the athletes, you know, but Jaramillo set us back a little bit there with getting tripped up over his with his footwork.
I think catchers, to me, are more mathletes, not necessarily athletes. You're all smart. I mean,
did you say mathletes?
Mathletes. That's a way of saying you're very intelligent. You can crunch those numbers, and you can put up to 5 fingers down to send a signal to the pitcher.
It's impressive, isn't it?
Oh, and I forgot, you all have blinding speed.
Runs well for a catcher.
I like that's one of your go-tos, and I like it.
Well, now Posada, what is he? He runs well for a DH.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to start saying that.
Crum breaks. And keeps his foot on the bag, and he's in with a stolen base.
Well, Crum getting an opportunity late in the ball game and taking advantage of it. A little base hit and an RBI. And then a good jump. Really going to be no play for Jaramillo in the throw off line a little bit. Check out the throw, and he just rocks on his back leg. Good strong throw, just off the mark.
Posada an RBI opportunity, 2-2. And Crota misses, so full count. Posada looks at a strike, and that will end the inning, but not before the Yankees get one more. It's 4-2, head to the top of the 9th.
Get to Nissan now for the offer you need on the Nissan you want. This is Nissan Now. Get special pricing on our full line. Sedans, trucks and SUVs, crossovers. Now, lease Altima, just $189. Or Rogue, just $199. Visit ChooseNissan.com or see your local Nissan dealer today. Event ends March 31st. Get in now.
The New York Yankees are the history of baseball.
See ya! Alex Rodriguez, the youngest man ever to get to 600 home runs.
Fans, come out to Yankee Stadium on Tuesday, April 5th for Insulated Can Cooler Night. The first 18,000 guests in attendance will receive a Yankees insulated can cooler, courtesy of Pepsi Max.
The New York Yankees, a proud tradition, a legendary history.
Luxury everywhere you look. First of its kind technology. When your heart and head are saying the same thing, listen.
It's the final days of the Lincoln Spring Forward event. One last opportunity at an attractive sign and drive lease with 4 years complimentary maintenance.
It's not just luxury, it's smarter than that.
Get warmed up for a new baseball season with Yankees Spring Training Report presented by Lincoln. With player interviews, workout highlights, and clubhouse news, our experts are on site in Tampa to break down the big storylines from Bombers camp, prospects, position battles, injury updates, and more. Yankees Spring Training Report. All new coming up next after the game, only on Yes.
Well, it's been a busy day of decision-making for Joe Girardi. More decisions made between he and Brian Cashman, and some news just announced about the starters for Monday and Tuesday spring training games. A.J. Burnett will start the Monday night game against the Rays. Freddie Garcia will go Tuesday against the Tigers. Coverage of Game 1, well, actually Game 1, but Monday night's game for us here on Yes begins at 7, and then on Tuesday we'll be here with you Tuesday afternoon at 1. Both of those games on Yes, and of course what they're doing there is slotting A.J. Burnett to keep him on track. Remember, CC Sabathia threw against minor league hitters today. He'll start the opener Thursday, but because of that quirk in the major league schedule to start the season, the Yankees have an off day Friday. So with Burnett starting Monday, that sets him up perfectly for the Saturday start in Game 2 of the regular season against the Tigers. And then, of course, not only is Freddie Garcia pitching, the game will have flash, but Phil Hughes and Ivan Nova are getting a little side work. We're not going to see them in a game.
Probably get an appearance maybe in a minor league game, so we won't get a look at them, but they'll get their work done, get their pitch count up where it needs to be.
4-2 Yankees here, top of the ninth, as they try to close things out. Jason Jaramillo at the plate. Like you said, he's towing the line all the way here for the Pirates.
You know, Bob, though, I got a question about the starters that we saw. Obviously, AJ's going to pitch the night game and Freddie Garcia's the day game. So we actually have to work a night game and then come back the next day for a day game?
Night game, day game. We got to work them both, right? How do you feel about that?
Well, it's spring training, so I guess we have to get used to it for the regular season, but probably going to be a little groggy on that day game, I have to admit.
I don't know. You're throwing down raw almonds like nobody's business. Maybe taking some probiotics with that. I think you're going to be in perfect game shape. I think you'll be ready to go. Hey, by the way, you got to chip the rock a little more today, Flash. Today after the game, stick around for an all-new Yankee spring training report presented by Lincoln for the latest news from Tampa. And then afterwards, catch Yankees 2011 Pride, Power, and Pinstripes as the Yes Team previews the season, including interviews with Derek Jeter, A-Rod, and CC Sabathia. It all starts today after the game, only on Yes.
So we're going to join Kim Jones for that spring training report by Lincoln, right?
We are. It's you and me, little Q&A with Kim in the first segment, and then I'm going to head down and join Kim for a little social media session.
If there's anybody who can handle that session, it is you, Bob Lorenz. Mr. Twitter. Facebook, too?
No, I'm not on Facebook.
Not Facebook?
No. Base hit up the middle for Josh Rodriguez. Against Luis Ayala. If I'm still having the raw almond issue, though, that could be a problem. So I might actually be miming answers to Kim.
Well, if anybody can handle it, Kim Jones can.
She will interpret what I'm trying to say. Ninth inning flash, and I'm trying to milk a mime joke. That's awful. Here's Jose Tabata. Pretty productive day for him. Walk to start things off for the Pirates. He's also tripled and singled.
He's going to be an interesting player to keep your eye on during the year.
Squibs one foul.
I'm kind of surprised he hasn't hit for more power than he has so far. I mean, last year just hit under 300, 4 home runs in 102 games. But one of those young players who has hit a lot of doubles in the minor leagues. Kind of translates to a little bit more power when he matures. See how it all plays out.
Well, the Yankees got an insurance run their half of the 8th inning, so they're trying to close things out. 4-2. A man on first, one out. Tabata at the plate. And more than just a little inside. Ayala missing. 2-2 count.
Kind of liked what I've seen from Ayala this spring, though. I mean, a good moving fastball in on the righties, can throw the slider down and away, and kind of a different arm angle, a little side 3/4. We talked about Mark Pryor, you know, giving the Yankees some depth. Maybe if he goes to the minor leagues, we'll see how it plays out. Ayala, kind of the same thing.
Right back to him. Trying to start the double play. 1-6-3 ball game. Yankees put it in the books 4-2 with a win over the Pirates. Their second win in 3 tries against the Pirates this spring. Luis Ayala wrapping things up. And a good afternoon for the Yankees here in Tampa. We'll be back to wrap things up from George M. Steinbrenner Field right after this.
The 3 Series exemplifies the essence of BMW. It has the ingredients of the perfect sports sedan.
Everything is balanced, everything works in harmony, everything is perfectly engineered. That's why car and driver staff buy this car more than any other.
And it's so magical, so connected.
Exceptional offers and no-cost maintenance. Just part of BMW's unrivaled value.
This car insurance company says you can name your own price. I'd like to pay $1.
Yeah, but your price would be about $200 a month.
So I'm not naming my price, I'm naming yours.
Tomato, tomato.
Rate should be based on driving skills, not negotiating skills. Cure Auto Insurance.
Your therapeutic shampoo is finally paying off.
We are going out tonight!
Just another reason to celebrate with Fridays, where right now it's 3 full courses for just $12.99. In here, it's always Friday.
The final score once again from Tampa, it's the Yankees 4, the Pirates 2 in a game that lasts 2 hours 53 minutes. Manny Banuelos got to start and picked up the win, 3 innings of 2-hit baseball. Alex Rodriguez hit a towering home run in the first inning, a 2-run shot, his 6th this spring. And Chris Dickerson, very impressive in his debut for the Yankees since the trade for Milwaukee, 3 for 3 with a double and a run batted in. Well, that will do it from George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida. Special thanks to producer Frank DeGrace, coordinating director John Moore, Vice President of Operations Ed Delaney, our supervising producer Woody Fryman, and the executive producer is Mr. John J. Filippelli. Join us again Monday for Yankees baseball as the Bombers take on the Tampa Bay Rays at George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock on the YES Network. Once again, the final score is Yankees 4, Pittsburgh 2.